In the morning. It is Monday, May 12th. Good to be with you. GMAC is live at Trent Dilfer's UAB golf tournament this morning. I'll be in the studio here in Homewood, and we'll get you set on everything coming up this week and from over the weekend. We had a nice UFL action over the weekend, got some recruiting news for you, a couple college football player movement discussions that we need to have, some NFL news. A lot to get to. NBA playoffs continue to roll. Obviously, some MLB stuff as well. Paul Feinbaum with us at 7:15. But it was Mother's Day weekend. Obviously, a lot going on. Busy weekend. I know you were concerned about your survival on Thursday and Friday, Greg. Were you able to pull it off?
Yes, we made it. We lived to tell the tale. 3 kids against just one parent, and that one parent. I got to be honest, I do feel like I'm pretty mature most of the time. But, I do have moments of immaturity. So 4 kids all coexisting under one roof, and I felt like we succeeded. It was a good weekend, man. We had a blast. Mom got back on Saturday, celebrated Mother's Day. My parents came to town on Saturday night. So we had, and then got to visit with a bunch of UFL buddies that came over. We had a full house on Saturday night watching the Savannah Bananas. So it was a great weekend, man. Great birthday. How was your trip to Memphis?
Did the Bananas have a big game that we needed to check out? Was it a rivalry game? What was going on?
It was on ESPN2, and it was the first time they've been, I believe, on full linear. And my kids could not have been more into it. I mean, have you watched these games?
I have attempted to. My kids love it. Yeah.
I mean, it's highly entertaining. The first base umpire's doing backflips, and he's wearing like a full ninja costume, and is doing backflips and punching guys out. I mean, it's amazing. The home plate umpire is doing the splits after he rings a guy up. He does the splits. It's kind of like Naked Gun. I mean, it's really, really good. And the kids could not have been more into it. Like when one of the guys in the first inning did a backflip and then caught a pop fly. I mean, JG thought it was the greatest thing of all time. But yes, could not recommend the Savannah Bananas enough.
I'll keep my take to myself then here on this one. I don't think anybody's going to like it. Some of the baseball stuff is actually cool. Like there's some legit Harlem Globetrotter stuff that they do actually when the baseball is in play. Last time I was watching it with my guys, the third baseman caught a ground ball and in his glove, dribbled it from behind back through his legs, caught it and threw the guy out at first. And I was like, that's pretty slick. The stuff that you're talking about, I got nothing for it. I just don't need it. But kids love it. It's cool. It's fun. People think it's great to dance or whatever. So
if it gets them excited about baseball, can we not be on board for that? I feel like baseball. Let's be real. The traditional baseball is not as consumable for the kids. Like you and me, yeah. Our growing up, we're not used to YouTube and all this other stuff that is fast action moving. But I feel like traditional baseball is hard for kids to kind of sit and consume. So I think this is traditional baseball, but it's rapid fire. I mean, they're pitching quick. Everything's quick about it. I think it's genius. And there's no secret. I mean, they sold out Nissan Stadium. It's better than the Titans did all last year.
Hey. You're not wrong, but no need to put it out loud. No need to say it out loud.
No, they sell out everywhere they go. They sold out Raymond James. They sold out Clemson Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina. The marketing aspect of it is brilliant, and people love it, and people want to see it, and people consume it. It's just, I don't need a guy, karaokeing a music video or a song up to bat without a shirt on with a water hose being sprayed on him. I'm good. I'm fine. But hey, if the kids love it, go for them. I'm not mad at it. It's just not for me. That part's not for me. So, but it's I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It was a good way to spend the birthday. I had never seen it before, and got quite a kick out of it. I think they do a good job. The uniforms are loud. Everything about it is just completely over the top. But if it makes my kids like baseball, I'm in.
Go for it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the father-son dynamic that I really, really enjoyed as a kid. And I hope that my kids have as much appreciation for the sport as I did. I just don't know if that's likely, given the inability to concentrate, for a long time and sit still for a long time, and us not having access to a major league team. Like, not that I love to go into the Barons games. I think they're a blast. It's super cool. Our kids went last year. We sat in the first base line. It was awesome. We had a great experience. But something about seeing the best in the world do it is also kind of appealing. We don't have access to that. So if my kids can watch baseball on television like the Savannah Bananas and be into it and care, I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool. Like I said, I'm going to let my thoughts go because I don't need the hate from that fan base that is, I guess, super passionate today. I just don't. I mean, I think pretty much 95% of America loves it, and I'll be a terrible person for saying that I don't enjoy watching it. So I'm just not going to say it today. We're going to move on. So.
I did not have Cole Cubelic down for someone that was an anti-Savannah Banana guy.
There's a lot of other things I would choose to watch over that. I'm just going to be honest with you.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You're also 50. But
not 50. What about
what about Judge and Law?
They love it. My daughter loved it. I mean, they've had it on. You can get all their games on YouTube. They have the YouTube channel. They watch a bunch of them. Yeah, they've seen it, and it's like I said, some of the baseball stuff's actually pretty cool. But then, like when they put their average and stuff up there, I'm just like, what are we doing? Why?
Right.
Against who? I mean, the Magic City Heartbreakers. I don't even know who are we playing? What?
The Party Animals beat them.
The Party Animals were here. I will say this too: it's hard to explain the rules because I told you my kids are obsessed with the score, specifically my 5-year-old.
Yes.
Like he wants to know the score, and then he wants to figure out how many one team is up or down by, and you win innings, so you don't have a score that carries the entire game, and that's a chore to try to explain that and what the numbers are because it's like basically a new box score, and so I had to try to explain that, and then obviously fans catching foul balls, which I think is great. You get the fans involved, like make them feel more part of the game. So for what it is, it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like I don't go seek out Savannah Bananas film and break it down because
Whoa.
Sorry.
Why? Don't you want to know their tendencies? How are you going to know if you need to shift the shortstop behind second base because he's a pull hitter?
Which Miley Cyrus song do you need to memorize before you go? It's probably good. Which Taylor Swift song do you need to know the words to before you get out there and go? We watched the one at Truist Park last week, And it was like I think they had a couple extra Outkast songs in the rotation just because they were in Atlanta, which is great.
Which takes me to my next question for you. Has your son ever asked you about a somewhat inappropriate song because one of his friends uses it as a walk-up?
No. Not asked me about one. I mean, there have been a couple songs played at the park that I'm kind of like, y'all know what words are coming next, right? I think they cut it off in time. But I don't say anything to anybody. I'm just.
Well, let me just go on and.
I think if you draw, here's my philosophy on things like that. If you draw attention to it, you make it worse. So I try to ignore it the first time around. If something happens like by accident, I'll give you a perfect example. My daughter went to the game with me this weekend, so we were on our way home last night. And a mutual friend of ours called, and he was on Bluetooth. Now, she was kind of dialed into a movie in the back seat, and he may have dropped a couple F-bombs in the conversation. And it's just a person who may have been on the call for, one of the Stallions games over the weekend. And
come on, Nacho, watch him out.
Instead of turning around and saying, "Oh, what is you?" I'll kind of look in the rear view, not paying attention. Just keep moving on.
Good to go.
No, you just don't.
Okay.
Now, if I'd have said, "Wait, act like you didn't hear that,"
right?
Act like I didn't hear what, and then she's listening for it again. So it's just I songs, conversations. I try to pretend like it doesn't happen unless, like you said, it's asked about specifically, and then obviously we have to have a conversation.
See, like my son is right now very into walk-up songs. It's like his favorite thing. He wants to find his walk-up song for next year. I'm like, Vince, we didn't do a walk-up song this year. I don't have a problem if we end up on a team that decides to do walk-up songs. That's fine. But his obsession right now with walk-up songs is hilarious. I'm trying to get him to listen to like 80s rock. I'm like, oh, dude, Sweet Child of Mine, Van Halen, Jump. Like, fun stuff. Money, like
Man,
typical
there is. I'll
ballpark
tell you
stuff.
this quickly, like to interrupt you fastly. I have found through raising 3 children to the point that we have already, it is unbelievable how safe 80s music is.
The safest. It's the best.
I mean, things that were semi-controversial then now, it's like Nickelodeon.
It's 100%.
I'm like,
it's so true.
Man, the teachers hated the song back in the day, and there's nothing wrong with it now.
Compared to
this
nowadays.
is like whatever comes before G. This is it.
Yes. Well, how about
This is like E-rated.
Dude, think about in 1961 when Buddy Holly was considered to be like highly controversial. Like, I mean, come on. Like, I mean, this is like crazy. But anyways, like Vince is obsessed with walkout songs, and one of his buddies, their walk-up song is Coco Chanel by Bad Bunny. And dude, I put this on. I've never heard the song before in my life. I put it on, bud. Dude, you got to be really careful with walk-up songs.
I think one of Judge's teammates may have the song.
Like, dude, I actually, but I got Vince on a really good spot. Wait, you know what we're coming out to next year? If we do walk-up songs, which we probably won't.
Right there by Chingy.
No, it's close though. Close. I found a clean.
What's the Nelly song with the country guy?
Over and Over by him and Tim McGraw.
That one?
We have Tim McGraw Nelly mashup. The thing that the world absolutely needed at the time.
We do.
No. I found it, and it was hard to find. I'm going to be honest with you. It was not easy to find. But I did find a clean Yeezy album. So we are probably coming out to I Love It or Put On.
See, here's the problem is you're complaining about songs used for walk-up that have explicit lyrics. I know you found allegedly clean versions, but you told us last week that you're like sitting there taking your kid through the rotation of Young Jeezy songs and
Yes.
2 Live Crew songs.
But I found it.
I don't know.
Found it, though.
Like you introduced him to these. Why
No,
are you and how
no,
are
no.
you concerned about
See-
him hearing these when you're the one that says, "Oh wait, you got to hear this one."
Hang on a second.
You're putting Easy E on. I'm like, you're gonna love this one.
80s song. It's clean. Easy.
NWA and 2 Live Crew are the exception there.
Here's what I've found. Like back in our day, the only thing that made a song inappropriate was cussing. So if you just bleep out the cuss words, we're good.
Okay.
The songs now, they still cuss, of course, but the actual content with which they're singing about is highly inappropriate. None of the words are bleeped out because it's not cuss words. So I found like this is really dicey. You know what I mean? Like it's really dicey. But I have found a decent amount of walk-up songs. So I was showing them. That's part of the reason why I bring it back to the Savannah Bananas. Every single song was super clean. I was like, look, bud, you can do, if you want to do Bubblegum Pop, we can do Bubblegum Pop as a walkout song. You're 6. Like, it's okay. It's okay if you want to walk out to, something that's a little bit, if you want to walk out to Baby Shark, we're good. That's fine. You're still a baby in my eyes, obviously 6, obviously kindergarten. He doesn't view himself as such. He thinks he's 14, but it's okay to walk out to bubblegum stuff. So maybe we might have had a breakthrough during the Savannah Banana games as it relates to the walk-up song stuff. So I'm feeling pretty good about things.
I will say this. I didn't know that Bad Bunny was so popular with the kids, the younger kids. We have 2 on our current team that have Bad Bunny as walk-up songs. And mine might be one of them. And it might be my fault because I'd
be lying to you if it's a pretty catchy tune.
Well, I have it's the song that he walked out to when he did the pay-per-view in WWE or whatever, which I would still say is the best entrance of any athlete I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Like it's incredible. I did get confirmation though that the other one is not the one that you mentioned. It's Monaco. Sean Bea is the one that my son uses. But I'll have to go listen to this one. What was the name of it again?
Coco Chanel.
Hopping Around the Garden? Got it. Okay. I remember the first time I saw Bad Bunny. It was like 10 years ago at the Macy's Day Parade, and they're like, "Here comes Bad Bunny," and he had this like full neon puffy coat suit on, like the whole. And I'm like, "This guy's a joke. Like, is this real? They let him in this parade?"
Boy.
And now here we are.
Look at him.
Yeah.
Star.
Superstar.
Unbelievable. It's crazy.
It's good tunes. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if I'm in the car solo, I'm not against it.
So is he like the modern day Pitbull, where like you started off and like, maybe
Ooh, that's a good
we would like
question.
to see like he has star potential, but then he kind of knocked it out of the park.
I mean, I'm not going to say he's worldwide just yet, but
He's
He doesn't
close.
have a stadium named after him yet.
exactly, yeah. Until we get a Bad Bunny Stadium home game for somebody, I don't know who that would be. Yeah.
How good when Cole is in attendance front row at Bad Bunny Stadium for the Savannah Bananas versus the Harlem Globetrotters in baseball.
That's when you know I'm hanging on by a thread right there.
He's on the last leg,
This is
y'all.
it. Yeah. This is
So all right, boys, we need to have an intervention for Cole. Something's gone horribly wrong. He's on a 180. We got to figure this out.
yeah. That's like turning heel in the AEW startup tour. Just getting a couple more in before it's all said and done. Riding into the sunset. All right, we need to get to a break. We'll be back with Paul Feinbaum right after this. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is Monday, May the 12th, 7:20 a.m. Right here on Jocks 94.5. Watch live on YouTube. Just search Jocks 945. You can always tune in that way. Go watch it back if you missed it. Listen live online, jocksfm.com. That app is in your app store where you have access to everything, the podcast, YouTube, listening live, all of it. And one thing that we always like to tell you about here on our show is Shannara Flooring, GMAC, and how they can help you out around your house.
Yeah, Fu and his company have done an amazing job of making sure that they do the job right. He's got great group of contractors that will come in, make sure that your flooring is replaced and your home is cared for. And they also have 40,000 square feet of Core-Tec flooring by Shaw in stock. It's absolutely beautiful flooring. You'll love it. You'll understand what I mean when you go and see it. To have 40,000 in stock means you can go and see it before you install it, which is a luxury that most contractors here in the greater Birmingham area, they can't provide that type of access. This is easy to clean, easy to maintain, 100% waterproof. It's great for kitchens, laundry rooms, bathrooms, pretty much anywhere in your home. You're gonna add value if you add that Core-Tec flooring by Shaw. And Shannara Flooring is the only group that I would trust to install it at my home. You can also get 12 months financing with approved credit. So call today if you're thinking about making some adjustments to your floors. Call who? Call Fu. Call them at 205-518-6423, or you can go online at fuandyou.com.
So are you in the clubhouse? Are you in the cafeteria? Are you
You'll love this.
Locker room?
Me, hey, I was like, hey, so is there a quiet place where I can do the show? I had to do it for my car last year, remember? So is there a quiet place I can do the show? They're like, yeah, you can just go into the cafeteria. I'm like, oh, okay. Or the restaurant. You can go do it in the corner. I'm like, this is literally the loudest place. But it is the best internet reception, so we'll take it. And I actually got a beautiful view of the golf course, so I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot right here.
Do you have
do you have
your group location. Yet? Do you know who you're playing with?
My dad.
Oh, nice.
And I know that's all I know at the moment.
Gotcha. Okay, I didn't know if they put you with other celebrities or who are you paired up with on Thursday? Do we know yet?
On Wednesday, and I don't know that with 100% certainty yet. I've heard buzz, but I don't know for sure.
Okay. All right.
So I will tell you on Wednesday when our tee time is. When I walk on the first tee, I'll text you and tell you who I'm playing with.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me know, and we'll keep up the speed on that. All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
Trying to get in touch with Paul Feinbaum. Haven't been able to reach him just yet, so I did want to go back to something from Friday, which I wasn't able to make the show on Friday. I was doing MC for the Lutzy 43 Foundation event down at Purcell Farms Thursday night, and wasn't able to be on the show Friday, so took the day off. And you had the entire Over the Mountain area on fire Friday morning. I usually don't receive texts when I'm not on the show. I think I got 30 on Friday morning, wanting to know who you were talking about, who these accusations were directed at, what bat you were talking about, what league you were talking about, what player you were talking. And I said, guys, you're obviously listening. I'm not on the show. What is the problem? I'm not tuned in either. So I had to get updates on it. What was happening Friday morning with this bat controversy?
Oh, well, it's amazing because we presented it as an ethical dilemma. It's not really. If you listen to the show, there is never a team that was called out, the name of the bat was not called out. None of that was. We purely presented it as such. There has been a bat that is considered to be illegal in most travel ball tournaments. And update on that, it's now illegal in almost every travel ball tournament. Within 30 minutes of the show going final on Friday, a Grand Slam sports tournaments declared that this bat is illegal. Still haven't and won't say the name of the bat because, frankly, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I don't know what the heck makes this bat illegal. I've never used it. But we presented it as a question. And there's 3 doors that you can pick here. Door number 1, are you in the wrong for using the bat that is widely considered to be illegal? Door number 2, is the league at fault for allowing the illegal bat in most places to be legal in this particular league? And door number 3, are you wrong for caring about what bat the other team is using. Those are the 3 doors. And we had tremendous response on this. What I found great about it is that no school was ever mentioned.
Okay.
No team was ever mentioned. And yet one team in particular is basically telling on themselves by trying to defend said usage of the bat. I said, you're never wrong. You're not. I never said you're wrong. I just simply asked the ethical question. Are you wrong for using it? Is the league wrong for allowing it? And is the team wrong that you're playing against for caring? That's all I said.
Let me ask you this. How and why, I'll tell you my thoughts on it, but how and why did it come about? Was the team hitting the ball too well?
I don't know.
Were they in a younger age that the ball doesn't go over the fence much, and all of a sudden, like 3 kids hit the ball over the fence? Like that, I need to know how it kind of came about. Like what?
Well, from what I've been told, this bat is just incredible. And honestly, everyone spoke glowingly about it. But I guess it is a hotter bat, from what I gather.
Also, why are you against naming the bat? You just want to give out a free plug?
Yeah, not giving out a free plug first and foremost, and secondly, like, I've never used it. I don't even know what it is. I've actually heard it called like 4 different things. So I don't even know. Anyways, but it's beside the point. And it's kind of amazing that within 30 minutes of the show on Friday, that bat was almost universally banned. So the power of Mac and Q
in Birmingham, not in Atlanta and Washington D.C.
Oh, no.
I mean,
no.
I don't know. I think it's worldwide.
Grand Slam rules.
All right. Well, okay. Well, here are a couple of weird things. So, we happened to be at an event Friday night with it was like our rec league team post party, whatever, that we all kind of got together. And so it was obviously brought up to me by people there because it had hit every baseball dad text thread in, Jefferson County. And we were asked about it. They asked me about it, and I said, I don't really know much about it. And so one of the dads did some research on it after you made me aware of what the bat was. So I shared that with one of them. He researched it, and he goes, oh, there's a guy on YouTube that demos all these bats. And I've seen this guy on Instagram, actually. It's floated on my timeline before. Like, he is a former player, and he hits with all these bats. And he has all the tracking stuff. Like, I think he has the Top Golf deal, like something similar where launch angle.
Like a TrackMan deal?
Launch angle, exit velocity, the whole thing. And apparently this guy said the bat you're referencing is like the hottest bat he's ever used. At any stage, at any point in time. It was like 117 exit velo. He was like, these are like Shohei numbers. Like, it's insanity.
Yeah.
Here's the crazier part. So I started doing a little bit of research on it. I started looking it up. I found that bat for around a little less than $300.
Ooh.
There are multiple kids that I have seen in the last week using a different bat that goes for $500.
Yes.
Which my question would be to the $500 bat owners, what were you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Not going out and getting this one. And I'll be honest with you, when you told me what it was and some of the dads started researching it, my first question was, okay, where do you get it?
Right.
But my whole thing on the whole bat deal, like honestly, the way I look at it, like if there was a wooden bat that was light enough for my son to use, I would want him to use it. I don't want my son using a super hot bat right now. Like, I would rather him have to swing harder to hit the ball better with not as good of a bat right this second. Like, he's asked me for a new bat 20 times this year. I'm like, no, absolutely not. So-and-so has this one. So-and-so has that one. So-and-so's got the dub, this like pink bat, whatever. And I'm just like,
oh yeah,
good.
We know the dub.
Great. Let him park it with it. Like, you need to figure out how to hit the ball harder with your bat. And then if we can't do that, then maybe that's a you problem. So let's figure something else out. Like, put the donut on in the backyard and get some more swings in. Like, that's my answer to just about everything. So, because, like, we don't hit the ball super hard. We need to hit it harder. And we're trying to figure out ways. The bat's not going to – technology's not always going to be the answer. You're not always going to be – like, when you get to high school and you're playing quarterback, Greg, can you go get a new football? Like, I'm sure my quarterback in high school would have liked to use the Nerf Turbo to go out there and throw it around. Probably could have connected on more D-balls. But, like, it doesn't work that way. So, I mean, I know, like, in golf, that's the answer to everything. Like, oh, go get the new Titleist or get the noodle. It's got better spin, whatever. It just doesn't. That's not the answer all the time. So, I don't know. I don't care. The only thing, and I gotta be really careful here, because there have been some instances recently that I do not need to reference on air that involved people close to me and involved me personally, involved my children. So I'm not going to get into that. The only thing that like if you're blatantly cheating somehow, like, yeah, it's wrong. If this bat wasn't banned, you're not cheating. You just aren't. I don't know how anybody could even pretend that you were. I mean, unless somebody's making it in their garage and it wasn't like legally purchased or is being altered somehow and you were putting racquetballs in it, which is what we tried to do when I was in school.
Racquetballs?
Put tennis balls and racquetballs inside your bat.
All right. Mark on, maybe, and we'll revisit that at some point.
Okay. So Sammy Sosa wasn't that wrong.
It never worked, but yeah. But the only thing at the ages that you and I are referencing right now, our kids age a little bit younger and a little bit older, are the people who go out of their way to win games via rules technicalities. And basically snaking the rules to win games instead of just teaching and letting play baseball. That is, I mean, I have to bite my tongue often because of these things. And like, I don't know why you would want to introduce to your children winning games via rule technicality. I mean, it's the early stages of penalty vulturing. It really is. It's what it is. It's early onset penalty vulturing is what it is. And I don't know why you would want to teach your kids that. Like, it's arguing with the umpire or the rule book says this. Like I said, I need to stop now because there's a couple other things that I could go. I'm just going to stop. But that is the only thing, Greg. Like, I don't care if you're using like the Rawlings glove that's sitting out in front of the museum and it's 8 feet wide. Who cares? Like, the kid still got to go catch it, hit it past him. You know, like if the kid's got a hot bat, good, because you're going to see ground balls that fast for the rest of your life, if not faster. So go catch it and get in front of it and knock it down. Like, I don't care. I really don't. But it's the whole, like, the rule says this, you can't do that. And that's just kind of stuff. I can't manage it. I can't handle it, man.
Sig, we haven't experienced that yet. We don't play in the over the mountain league. So I don't know.
Well, the ones I'm referencing were in rec ball. So
okay, well we don't have, even in rec ball in kindergarten. It's like
basically you just haven't. I'm gonna listen. You just haven't been fortunate enough to see it, or should I say unfortunate enough to see it, because I have.
Yeah, it might very well go down. Like, the only thing we could track this year, they didn't keep score. I mean, the only way you could keep track was by.
I wish we didn't
outs.
at any level, man. There's just there's no need for it right now. There isn't.
Well,
and there are people that will push back on me as hard as humanly possible right now. But like I've told you guys how I got kind of forced into coaching my son's basketball team this past year, and the amount of kids during that game that would come up to me and ask me what the score was, and I would say, I don't know. I do not care. Play as hard as you can. Please rebound. Please run the floor. That's all I care about right now. Get so-and-so a shot. He hasn't shot the ball yet. Can we please let him shoot?
Yes.
That's all I care about, man. Like, I don't care
Everybody
what the
touches
score
the ball.
is. It just doesn't matter.
I'm with you, but you played, and so did I. And I think that we have a different perspective than some. And that doesn't make it better, just makes it different. And I think that what I'm also kind of amazed by, and like I said on Friday's show, I said, to be honest with you, if there's anyone here, like if I had to take a side on this, it's the league. It's the league. Like, if you tell me verbatim, oh, well, this team is using a bat that is illegal almost everywhere except for in this league that they're participating in, the league is the one that's at fault. More so than anything else. We had an umpire tweet into the show. That's exactly his sentiment. And it also, to an extent, call me soft, I could really care less. I've taken more hits by big, strong professional athletes than most people listening to this show. I'm not soft. I'm not weak. I'm not mentally soft. I'm not physically soft. But if you think I am, that's fine. But it really does become a player safety issue. If some of these kids, who some are big kids, I mean, there's big kids that can hit the ball hard. And if you're hitting it hard at my kid's face because the bat that you're using is extremely hot, that's a little concerning to me. My son plays third base, and in
No,
kindergarten,
if it's a player
he's
safety
taking some
issue, if it's
shots.
coming off the bat that hard, it should be reviewed. But if it's
I
not,
agree.
if it's not, I don't even know how it could be the league's fault if it hasn't been discussed or brought up or seen even. Like if somebody brings this bat into a league that's never used it before, how can it be the league's fault? They don't know. Like, is it their job to go track man every bat that's on the market for every age
group? It's banned by USSA. It's banned by USSA. It's banned by Grand Slam. All these national sports travel tournaments, which I've never even heard of these.
I don't even know what USSA is. That insurance company that like Gronk's doing commercials for military people.
No, that's USAA.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like
USAA. No.
I don't know why they would. Oh, I guess they probably don't move very well. So yeah, you probably want to ban it. For the older folks.
So that's my thing is like if it's a player, and like I said, I've never seen the bat with my own two eyes. I have no idea if it's hotter. I'm purely basing this off of the amount of reaction I had waking up to about 62 text messages from people from all different municipalities in Birmingham, by the way. Like people from multiple different municipalities airing their grievances about teams, bats, coaches, antics, like all that stuff. It's constant. GBBA May is like my best month for text messages because GBBA is going on. It's my favorite month as far as just consuming content via text message and group messages. So if it's a player safety issue, then by all means, I think the GBBA should absolutely review it. And the fact that they haven't, and yet all these other entities have, and people say, well, they're just getting it for the bat certification so that they can line their own pockets. Okay, fair enough. But why are all of them doing it? Does this Grand Slam, do they have bat certifications? Do they put stickers on bats because they make money from the bat companies, the bat manufacturers? Like, I don't think so. I've never heard of Grand Slam sports tournament.
This is way down rabbit holes that I didn't even know existed. So
exactly.
there can't be too
this
many
has
people
all been
listening that know
fascinating
what
to me.
This
has all been fascinating to me. I didn't know about any of this stuff.
Have the Savannah Bananas banned the bat or not?
I don't think so.
No, totally
think so.
legal.
They're good.
They use wood, but if they did, this would be the bat they'd use. Extra pop. But I don't know.
Well, the next Savannah Banana games I watch is going to be under protest. So
it's funny. It's funny to me how many people. I just don't understand how many people. This touched a lot of people on Friday, and it became a remarkably polarizing topic.
You took our show to a totally different demo.
You ain't lying.
There were baseball moms telling me that they went back and listened to our show over the weekend.
I would love to know our first hour podcast downloads, which kind of made me happy because Damien, they didn't hear my apology to lacrosse.
No.
Pleasing. No, I'm good with that. I need that thing to be dead. I had to do it, but I'm glad not as many people heard that because so many people were listening to the first hour of the show.
Oh, we can go to
You've
a break
only had
and
to
come back to that
apologize
one.
like 9 times to the public on the show.
Oh.
No. This one
was
this one hurt a little worse
one
than
was personal.
pretty much every other. This is the hardest apology ever.
Oh, okay. Well, we have good and bad news for you as it pertains to Wednesday, Greg, and it does not involve lacrosse. We will bring that up on the other side next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Are you planning on Wednesday being a highly competitive round of golf, Greg?
It's not usually, but
Might be
been
now.
a couple times where we've been in the mix.
Might be now. Would
Ooh,
you
what
like
we
to know
got?
your pairing? Your foursome?
I'd love to. I would love to.
At 8:30, by the way. Like, what are we doing? Why am I going out there? I mean,
8:30 Eastern.
it'd be better if it was. Yeah. So you could literally do the first segment of the show and then leave because you had to go warm up.
No.
This has been asked every year.
All right, Brian Kelly.
I'm pissed off now. 8:30, Tom Lehman, Greg McElroy, AJ McCarron, Taylor Hicks.
Ooh, that's a good quartet.
Is it?
I feel like somebody might be keeping score on that one. Might be a
Who, Tom
little.
Lehman?
Might be a little. Who shot what, and who did the other shoot?
First of all, obviously Tom Lehman notwithstanding, but I
I don't think any of you guys are keeping up with him.
I've played golf with Taylor, and
Yeah, I don't think
he's a pretty
gonna-
good player.
But I
I've
don't
never
think
played
that's the
with
score.
AJ.
I don't think that's the score people are going to be concerned with.
You think me and AJ are going to?
I think a lot of people are going to want to know what those two scores were. Yeah, since you guys are playing in the same group. Yes, I do.
We're going to bam it up, though. I can promise you that.
Why would they not put Taylor Hicks in the group behind you with Ernie Els and then just put Kalen DeBoer in y'all's group? Just go full bam.
Full Bama.
Ooh,
But Bama.
Can you imagine the crowds for that foursome?
All the roll tides. Roll tide. Hey,
Poor
Greg.
Ernie Els, he has no idea what he's getting into.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I played golf with Ernie last year, and it was one of the more enjoyable experiences of my life. Like, that dude is just awesome. Like, he is the coolest dude of all time. So Kalen's in for a treat. But I've never played with Tom Lehman. I'm looking forward to that. I never played with AJ either.
Also very interesting that at 8:20, Davis Love III, Greg Sankey, Kirby Smart.
Oh boy, now that is fireworks, especially after. Oh boy, last year Kirby was very upset about their schedule. Oh boy,
Controversy.
Is it?
so
Conspiracy
controversial.
theory.
That's it.
Conspiracy theory on the pairing.
Yeah, you know what? They say deals get done on the golf course. Next year, Kirby.
That's why I've never cut a deal in the last 10 years.
Watch next year. Kirby will play the 8 worst teams in the SEC next year, all because of this this outing with Commissioner Sankey. No, that's a
Dilfer
good
must
group.
need
Who
to
are they playing
go. Dilfer must need to go recruiting. He tees off at 7:10 with Kenny Perry. It's an early start. Steve Stricker, Nate Oates.
Dilfer might actually be able to be competitive in the regions. Like, he's that good.
Oh, no doubt. I would not. I don't doubt it at all. Darren Clark, Bo Jackson
I'm not
at
kidding.
8.
Dilfer's a +3 handicap. I don't care what anyone says.
David Thomas, Hugh Freeze at 8:10. After DeBoer and Ernie Els will be Stuart Sink, Nick Saban, Charles Barkley.
That'll be fun.
And then 9 o'clock, John Daly, Riley Green, Jamie Johnson, Tommy Tuberville.
Oh, boy.
Tom a tub of it.
And then 12:40, Corey Pavin and Daryl Johnson.
Moose?
How do they get to go after lunch?
Well, they have a morning wave and an afternoon wave.
But the afternoon wave doesn't. They don't list any of the other ones. Those are the only two notables.
Probably so.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. But that'll be a pretty good group. It's always a good time. And Regions, you need to go and check out Regions Tradition to go get your tickets now. It's really a great event. It really is so much fun. The Drummond Company Celebrity Pro-Am is probably one of the best days of the year here in Birmingham. You got Coach Saban, Charles Barkley, Nate Oates, Hugh Freeze, Riley Green. All those guys will be out there. And then Thursday we'll have major championship golf. And there's a lot more than just golf. You can swing by the White Claw watering hole, which features the White Claw Wave Bar and the Maomi Wine Lounge. Both are open to the public. I know Cole will be out at the Maomi Wine Lounge. That feels like his type of hang for sure.
Take my
You got
wife
food
out there.
trucks,
She would love it.
Coca-Cola Spectator Village, and a Saturday concert with the Monsters of Yacht right after play. It's all to support Children's of Alabama. It's a week you don't want to miss, so get your tickets now at regentstradition.com.
All right, when we come back, continue talking Little League Baseball. Doubtful. Right after this on Mac and Cube in the morning. the conference commissioners were meeting in New York last week, and apparently a new playoff structure was not only discussed, but is now gaining momentum. 16 teams apparently on the table. We'll discuss that a little bit further. Get your thoughts on it. 800-239-9569. You want to get in. 800-239-WJOX. Text in 205-834-9450. Before we get to that, before we talk about that 16-team college football playoff that apparently could be coming sooner than later, I'll tell you about our friends at Game Day Men's Health. If you're feeling on edge, if you're lacking sleep, lacking energy, they can help. If you're trying to lose a little bit of weight, Game Day Men's Health can help. Anti-aging, skincare, and more. They can get you with those and their new peptides that they have mixed up for you right there at Game Day Men's Health. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today. Schedule the free consultation, free PSA test, free testosterone test. See where your baseline health is. They'll lay out the options that they have for you. And when they do that, tell them you heard about them right here on Mac and Cube in the morning. Get 10% off any service that they offer. Holistic approach to health and wellness. Minimal upfront cost for the programs that they offer at Game Day Men's Health. Great people, no stress, locker room environment. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Just go sign up for the free consultation today. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. All right, it appears as though, Greg, this 16-team playoff is picking up some real momentum, some real speed. There's some real people that have a lot of power, have a lot of say in the world of college football that are pushing for this, and the momentum for it is very real. How soon should folks expect this to maybe not only be on the table, but be our new reality?
I think a lot of the commissioners have realized that, hey, the 16 feels a little inevitable. It feels like we're already kind of at the point where we need to just go ahead and do it. And I'm good with it, to be honest with you. I'm great with it. It just, the only thing that makes me a little uncomfortable are the automatic qualifiers. And I understand that, look, the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, and the Big 12, they 100% want to protect their entire situation as it relates to, hey, I want at least 4 teams in, and they want the flexibility for Conference Championship Saturday to feature play-in games. Like, I get that. I understand the benefits that could provide and the additional revenue that could provide. But I just think that if we start giving away spots to teams that, whether they're worthy or not, if we start giving away spots, it could put a little pressure on the regular season. And if you look at, it's not like you play a round robin schedule. It's not like everybody plays everybody. So some years teams are going to have more manageable schedules. Like, for instance, last year, Ole Miss. I think most of us would agree when watching Ole Miss, they're one of the best teams in the country at their best. Yeah, they had 3 bad outings for sure and lost 3 games and shouldn't have lost those 3 games. But they would have been a team that would not have been involved in a play-in situation last year, even though they almost would have made the playoff. Had they just taken care of business in one of those, it's a completely different conversation. So, and it partly because their schedule was for the most part manageable. So I just am a little uncomfortable with the automatic qualifiers. I wish they would just do the top 16 teams and put the conference champions in and call it the day and rank them accordingly. But I understand that these commissioners want to protect their teams and want to protect opportunities that they have and flexibility that they have within the conference championship scheduling model. But I don't know, man. The AQs are always something that I'm not really in favor of.
Yeah, no doubt. And the way that would apparently look, according to Ross Dellinger, would be 4 from the SEC, 4 from the Big Ten, 2 from the ACC, 2 from the Big 12, 1 G6, 3 at large, which you imagine the 3 at large is mostly going to be there for Notre Dame. So let's say 2, and we'll just go ahead and give 1 to Notre Dame for the majority of the years, because I think that's going to be something that works in a lot of different ways. Obviously, 1 being they're usually a good team, 2, from a business perspective, they bring eyeballs. Let's just be honest. So you're talking about the SEC and the Big Ten potentially with 6 teams in, Greg, a 16-team college football playoff?
It could happen. Now, in the event in which 6 in the SEC got in and 6 in the Big Ten got in, there wouldn't be enough spots. It'd be 6 and 5 thereabouts. But yeah, I mean, the 3 seed loses to the 6 seed in the play-in game. The 6 seed's in. The 3 seed's now at large. The 4 seed loses to the 5 seed. The 5 seed's in. The 4 might be in at large. So I think that is something that's a little bit interesting. The thing that bothers me, though, like Bama would have played LSU again. So what you're telling me is that the situation that we saw in Baton Rouge last year, where Alabama won that game going away, tell me that game doesn't matter, and that they would have been in a play-in game last year. So it's just there's parts of it that I just think we need to iron out, and we need to protect the sanctity of some of these rivalry games in the regular season.
Why do we need a play-in game? Just having a round. Like, you're in or you're not. I mean, I know in the NCAA tournament we call it that, and it's in the same place every year, but we'll discuss it further next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Hour number 2 underway. Greg is out at Bentbrook for Trent Dilfer's golf tournament today. Getting set for that one. A lot of golf for you this week. A lot of golf. Noted. He sounds excited about it. It's okay. We'll be fine without him.
Kind of threw me off. Like, whoa.
It's fine.
Whoa.
We will discuss this potential 16-team college football playoff a little further. And I thought what Greg brought up about the potential harm to the regular season was an interesting topic, and we'll continue going down that path. 800-239-9569. You want to be a part of the show, you can text into the show, 205-834-9450. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. Florida's Todd Golden gets a 6-year extension through 2031. He won a national championship. Not a big surprise. He's not the only one that gets a contract extension over the weekend. Brett Yormark, a 3-year extension as commissioner of the Big 12. He's done a great job. And considering when he came in, what was happening when he took over, and how he kind of held things together and then added to that league to be able to push it forward, I would say that's more than deserved for Brett Yormark. So I don't think that there's any surprise there that he gets that, and most people would say he absolutely deserves it. Do we deserve a 16-team playoff in college football? That's the question that we'll ask moving ahead. 800-239-9569. Before we do that, Greg, tell our listeners about Bromberg's.
Well, Bromberg's is great, and they just finished up one of the great sales that they do all year long. Man, it's still such awesome stuff that they have available to you. And go get yourself a natural diamond. These are one of a kind. You know that diamond's going to symbolize something in your life that is one of a kind. The gift of a natural diamond, I mean, that thing started its journey deep below the Earth's surface 3 billion years ago. So it's really amazing. It's over 100 miles deep than the Earth. I mean, the beauty and the brilliance, it obviously matched exclusively by the value and the strength. These are timeless gemstones that will be with us forever. They're passed down through generations. They're precious and cherished family heirlooms. So you need to go into Bromberg's and check out the latest natural diamond jewelry in Mountain Brook Village or at the Summit. You can also shop online at brombergs.com, but the experience that you get at Bromberg's, yes, you have incredible, beautiful, timeless pieces of jewelry, but the other part about going to Bromberg's that kind of sets it apart, it's the quality of the service that you receive when you walk in the door. So go and check them out in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit.
You think the quality of the regular season, integrity of the regular season is being thought through with these discussions, Greg, where SEC, Big Ten going to get 4 in each, ACC, Big 12, 2 in each, 1 G6, and then 3 at large? Do you think that's a real topic of conversation when this is being debated as to should we go to 16-team playoff, and should we go to a 16-team playoff that allows that many automatic qualifiers in?
Well, here's the thing. I think it can serve as a good thing, okay? So I'm open to the possibility that it's good. But here's my question, is it's just going to completely change how we consume the sport. You know, we're going to be paying attention. When was the last time we paid attention in the SEC to what the standings look like? I mean, seriously, never. We never have. So it's new and it's unique, and it might take a little time for us as fans to adjust behavior, because I've never not one time think about, who's 6th in the SEC, and why are they 6th when being compared to the team that's 7th? I've never thought about that. To me, it was always about divisions. So you win the East, you play in the championship. You win the West, you play in the championship. This past year was the first year in which we went with just the top 2 teams, and that worked out pretty well considering where Georgia was and where Texas was. But I think it's going to adjust very much how we consume it and what the talking points are throughout the regular season. The other thing that I'm concerned about, we've said this forever, you talk to any fan of college football, the most important thing, and this is focus groups, this is tried and true, this has been tested amongst other generations. Everyone says the most important thing as it relates to college football are rivalry games. That is number one. That is the biggest thing that we have in our sport. No other sport has it. The Yankees and Red Sox play 18 times a season. The Cowboys and Giants play each other at least 2 times per season. So rivalry games have been just a fixture of our experience for 100+ years. And now we run the risk, and we've had this risk, by the way, for a while now. We run the risk of having the rivalry game be played at least 2 times. In some cases 3 times if they meet in the playoffs again. So that's my other concern, is that rivalry games are going to become less intense because of how often we might get them. That's my biggest fear.
We talked about this last year, going away from divisions, and that I think we referenced it with Michigan and Ohio State, potentially getting that one again the next weekend. Obviously, Auburn, Alabama, potentially again the next weekend. And then, like you said, Greg, there could be going to the quarterfinals, semifinals. You see those teams play again 3 times in a season. While sometimes if you were to get those maybe in a playoff, one-off bowl game, whatever it was kind of cool. But we start getting these things 2 times on a regular basis, 3 times every now and then. I do think it will begin to lose a little bit of the luster. The regular season matchups will. Certain people look at it and say, well, we lost. I don't think it's great. I mean, listen, they did what they did. I'm not taking credit away from them, but I don't think it's great that Ohio State lost to Michigan and then won a national championship. Because you look at that game and say, well, how much did that game matter? Was it a big deal? So it's, and I agree with you that rivalries are one of the things that we care about, we cherish most in this sport. And we don't want to see those be diluted at all. We don't want to see those lose any sort of meaning whatsoever. Like, those are supposed to be games at the end of the year that knock you out of contention and that remove you from being a contender. Now, everybody deserves a bounce back. I get it. It's one game doesn't define a team, but we just don't want to see it become something that's just another game. And part of this feels like we might be heading down that path.
Yeah, and I also think, too, look, I don't think there's anything participation about a 16-team playoff. Like, if you're in the top 16, you're a pretty dang good football team. Now, will you ultimately win it? No. Like, we always present these ideas like, oh, well, what if the 6th place team gets in the playoffs and ends up winning a national championship? Well, that probably won't happen. I mean, just in the SEC, that is. So if the team's in 6th place, they've already proven themselves to be pretty dang flawed. Which means it's probably going to be increasingly difficult for them to navigate through the postseason and win 4 straight games. Like, I don't see that as likely. Okay, could Ole Miss have done it last year? Absolutely, they could have, but they probably wouldn't have. Like, at some point or another, they would have gotten because that team had flaws. So I still think the best teams will win national championships, and that's what it should always be about. But I feel like in an effort to perfect the regular season, or in an effort to perfect the postseason, and to give opportunities in the postseason, and to make the playoff accessible, we're kind of turning our back on what has always been the most important part of our game. And that makes me a little uncomfortable, because how many teams realistically go into each season thinking they can win a national championship? Like, how many? How many teams care about winning a national championship every season?
I think a lot of them care about it. I just don't know how many realistically think that they can do it. I was asked on a podcast that I did recently, point blank, do you think that a non-SEC, non-Big Ten team can win a national championship? And obviously ACC, possibly, Big 12 maybe. But after that, I was asked again, and my answer was no, I don't. If you're going to extend this out even further, and you're going to give those teams another game that they have to potentially go win. And listen, some of those teams that we would have said, no, can't do it, they got to miss one round in this last playoff and still weren't able to pull it off. So I don't know if you guys differ from that. If you think a non-P5 school can actually win a national championship in this format, I personally just don't see it, mainly because of where we are with depth. And, I mean, depth is an issue for the SEC and the Big Ten and the ACC, not to mention what it is for some of the smaller schools.
Well, I also think, too, answer me this. Do the SEC and the Big Ten have to give the ACC and the Big 12 2 spots? Do they have to? Is it necessary? I'm not being negative. I'm just suggesting.
Well, define necessary. Necessary to what? To them? In their survival? No. Necessary as to not, you're already gonna push some people away. Necessary to not completely close off a large portion of college football fans? Yes, it is.
Fair enough. And then the thing that also weakens this even more is the conference championships. I mean, conference championships, for all intents and purposes, are yes, okay, it's prideful. Like, I still want to win. I want to win the league. It's still beneficial. You still hang a banner for that. It's still hard to do. I mean, winning the SEC championship in 2009 in some ways was more gratifying than winning the national championship because we didn't have any axe to grind against the Texas Longhorns. We had an axe to grind against the Florida Gators. And we wanted to beat the Florida Gators because they were the alpha dog team in college football. And yes, okay, in beating the Florida Gators, we got a chance to go win a national championship, and that was great. But I really wanted to beat Florida. I mean, like, really badly. So the conference championship for our era really mattered. I really cared greatly about it. I think a lot of people did. And it's just no longer going to be front and center, which is strange to me. And that last year was the first time that happened, and it was uncomfortable then, and it's going to continue to be uncomfortable now because of the college football that I grew up with.
Damian, do you think a team not in, I guess now the Power Four, can win a national championship in this format?
Nah, I think it's unlikely.
Do you think a team not in the Power Four can win a national championship? It's a yes or no answer. Let me ask you this. Will a team not in the Power Four win a national championship?
The answer is no, Damian. It's an easy question. It's an easy answer.
No. No, if you can sit there and come up with every what if and all the crazy scenarios and all the Andre Wares at Houston or Marshall Faulks at San Diego State and say, oh, if this team had that, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And you go take Kellen Moore's Boise team, you go take the UCF team from 2017. Like, they're not winning a 16-team playoff. They're not.
They had a better chance of winning it in the BCS. Seriously. Like, I know that sounds crazy because they never got invited to the dance to play in the BCS championship game. But had Texas lost to Nebraska, TCU that year in 2009 would have made the national championship. And Texas almost did lose to Nebraska. So, and in that scenario, do I think we would have lost to TCU? No, I think we would have ruled them. But that's beside the point. They would have only had to win one game. Now they have to win 4. And to me, I don't think the depth is there. You saw last year. I mean, how sideways was the Penn State-Boise State game? And Boise had some flaws, no doubt. They had some flaws. And Penn State was a dang good outfit, for sure. Very good football team. But how many of those teams could win 4 in a row? How many Power 5 teams can win 4 in a row?
Not many. Not a ton. Dave in Hoover wants to chime in on the future of college football in this playoff format. Welcome in, Dave.
Yeah, and that's what I see is the transfer portals created with NIL depth problems for teams. But here's my concern. They talk about the SEC going to a 9-game schedule. Well, if you do that, like Georgia last year, they had Clemson at the top in the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic. Then you had Georgia Tech at the bottom. So if you throw 9 conference games in there, that's 11. So you've got one cupcake in there to try to get over things. Georgia had 18 players last year, starters, that missed at least one game. And you saw how ridden with injuries they were during the course of the year. And I think that's going to happen to everybody. So I don't know. I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about teams like, Florida, Clemson, taking South Carolina out of the mix if it goes to a 9-game conference schedule for the SEC. See South Carolina doing that. Kirby's already talked about it. I mean, we got to, it's just too much football. And then you want to throw in more games. He said, you throw in the SEC championship game with that gauntlet of a schedule. That's a lot of football for student athletes.
It's a lot. And it's only going to get, from a depth perspective, more difficult with the roster numbers that are potentially going to come into play. You're going to have less guys to take reps in practice, Greg, from a scout team perspective. And that's going to mean more for your 1s and 2s and 3s. Guys are going to actually be playing in games. They're going to have to get reps to help the others get prepared for games. It's not going to get any easier for these teams either. And then when you look at the flip side of, okay, well then how does that affect the smaller schools, the majority of their depth? I mean, we're seeing guys, we already talked about starting quarterbacks at smaller schools, leaving to go to bigger schools to be third-string QBs with no NIL money on the line. And I have gone and looked at film of multiple players going from the lower levels of football to the SEC and the Big Ten this year and wondered, what do they see in this guy? Why? Why are they taking him? Well, the reason is they need depth. They need a body. So if you need a tight end, a receiver, a running back, a left guard, and your next guy is just not even there, if that spot is vacant and there's not much available, you got to go get somebody. to be able to come in and help you if you were to get into a bind. So I just don't see how that's going to take place with where we are in depth in college football. And then, like Dave said, adding more games is only going to make it more difficult. Seth is on a cell, wants to chime in on this. Welcome in, Seth.
How's it going, guys?
Great. How are you?
Doing well, man. Just dealing with some traffic on the way to work. But I think the one thing I realized once we had seen the 12-team playoff last year is that we're making a mistake by making a similar model with football for basketball because it's apples and oranges. The truth of the matter is, in any given year, there's only going to be maybe 4, 6, if it's crazy, just absolutely dominant teams that you can look at and say, this is the cream of the crop. And so we're just diluting the regular season by including all these teams, creates terrible games, and just devalues, like Greg said, the conference championships, regular season rivalries. Like we're really, it's just giving participation trophies at this point. Even in the SEC or the Big Ten, like, yes, teams beat up on each other and it's a harder schedule and, you know, this, that, and the other. But the truth of the matter is, even those teams, there's still not that many just world beaters that you're looking at. I think the 4-team playoff was fine, maybe 6 at best, just to include a couple of, you know, unforeseen events throughout the course of a specific season that, you know, might merit that. But I really think we're getting out of hand with this. And I think it's really going to hurt, like, the view on champions when they get there. You know, I don't fault Ohio State for having lost to Michigan last year but then winning a national championship, because we've seen, you know, really good teams drop a game, you know, in a season in the past, but they were still an elite team. They overcame it and then went on to win it all. But we're setting this up to where it's just too much. You know, it's like the law of diminishing returns. Like, adding more does not always add value. So that's my take on that.
But here's my only pushback.
Thanks for the call.
On that, and I appreciate the call. But answer me this: like, raise your hand if you're an Alabama fan right now, and you believed you could win the national championship last year, and or a South Carolina fan, or a.
But I think there's a gray area there when you ask fans that question. There's going to be some whose judgment is clouded by thinking that they should, whether or not they think they really can.
Well, but I'm saying that everyone was clamoring on Selection Day for Miami, Bama, and South Carolina to make it in. Like,
Well, everybody was clamoring for their own teams to get in.
Correct.
I mean,
correct. So
Shane Beamer wasn't clamoring for Miami to get in.
No. But if it provides a little more room, a little more opportunity, more room for error, a little more room to grow over the course of the season, like, is that beneficial? I'm just purely playing devil's advocate here.
Sure.
You might have a really young team, and your team might, like, for instance, Florida somehow backs their way into the playoff last year. Like, who wants to play the Gators in the postseason? Like, it just changes. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say it's bad. I won't do it, because I don't know if it's bad or not. What I will say is that it will change our behavior as fans with how we approach the game and with how we approach the season and with what we will put a premium on. We're going to care more about where are we in the conference standings than we do about the AP poll or even the college football playoff rankings, frankly. Like, you're going to be looking more, if you're an Alabama fan or an LSU fan or an Auburn fan, you're going to be looking and diving in deeper to your own conference play and where teams are within the conference and have different rooting interest within the conference, as opposed to back in the day where it's like, oh man, we're the number 4 team. We're the number 5 team. We really need TCU to lose to Baylor this week for us to have a chance. Now you're not going to be as concerned about what's going on elsewhere. You're going to be more focused on what's going on within your own conference, so that Vanderbilt knocking off Auburn is potentially massive for the overall standings in the SEC play. You know what I mean? So I think I don't think it's bad. It's just different, and it's completely different than what we've experienced in the past as college football fans.
And we've already talked about trying to retrain our brains for what it was last year. We haven't even really done that yet. There's another part of it though that I wanted to discuss and wanted to get to. I disagree with our last caller on one thing. We'll discuss what that is next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 8:24, Monday, May the 12th, Jocks 94.5. Are you in favor of a 16-team college football playoff that appears as though we're staring down the barrel of it? Could be here sooner than later. One thing that our previous caller said that I would disagree with, I thought he made a lot of great points, and a lot of the things that he said were accurate as far as where we're going and what it might do. But one part that he brought up was the games are going to be worse. I actually disagree with that. Now, you could make the argument of how much meaning the games have, and maybe that in your mind makes a game less important, so therefore it's a worse game. But if we're getting Citadel and Tennessee State and East Valley University State Tech off the schedules, those aren't going to be worse games. If you're getting more conference games, more P5 versus P5 on the board, those are going to be better games, and they're going to be more competitive. And you can say, well, if they play, then we see them play again. That's fine. But at the end of the day, think about all the games that we had in November that had meaning. The
Yes.
South Carolina games, the Ole Miss games, the Clemson games, the Miami games, the Boise games, the SMU games, the Arizona State games, all that had meaning in November that we weren't sure were going to have meaning before the season. And it's fair to sit there and say, oh, we're not going to have as many dominant teams. We're not going to have as many dominant teams. That actually could be better. And I felt like we had that this year. Like, how many teams during the regular season, Greg, did we come in on Monday and say, nobody's doing anything about that team? It doesn't matter how the other team plays. Doesn't matter what the other team did. They can't beat them. I'm not sure we had any at any point where we sat there and said, nobody can beat that team. Like, Texas looked great at different points. Texas looked human at points. Georgia looked great at points. Georgia looked human at points. Do we ever sit here and say on a Monday, hey, guys, Arizona State's unstoppable? We damn sure didn't say it about Ohio State because they didn't look the way they did in the playoffs during the regular season very much. That actually could be of benefit to where we're headed, that there's not teams that we look at, and we talked about it going into the season. This might be the hardest season to handicap and look at and say, those two teams are playing for a title. That team's winning a title, and I think we have that again this year. Yep. It's very hard to look at it right now and say, give me the one team that you feel most confident in to go win a national championship, because it doesn't really feel like there's that team out there right now.
And guess what? It's not going to change. Like if for what, and there'll be some teams that have a little slightly better rosters and have good players for sure. But I think that's kind of the viewpoint of the leadership that's kind of steering us in this direction. They're acknowledging that the margins between the top teams and the teams that are, say, 20th are slimmer than ever. Dude, I got news for you. Like, back in the day, I mean, the best team I played on, I mean, there's no chance we lose to a team that's ranked, in the top 15. You know what I mean? But now, guess what? That top 15, especially if we're at home, on the road, it is anybody's bet, right? I mean, on the road's tough. It's just hard to do. But at home, like, you're not losing at home to a team that has some flaws. That's just not going to happen. So I just think the margins are just crazy, crazy thin now. And people talk all the time about, well, Bama went 15 years without losing to losing to an unranked team. Y'all, those days are done. Like those days are long gone, and it has nothing to do with Nick Saban. It has everything to do with the fact that the roster is nowhere near what it once was. And even the best rosters, I mean, Georgia, Ohio State, the best rosters. Think about how flawed Georgia was last year. Georgia could have lost 5 games easily last year. Kentucky game was tight. Could have lost that game, no problem. Could have lost to Georgia Tech very easily. That game went the distance. The fact that Georgia won that game is actually slightly remarkable. The Auburn game was closer than people remember. Like, Georgia could have easily lost 5 games last year. And that's one of the best rosters in the sport. So I'm telling you, man, it's going to be, you're going to have to win a national championship now. You got to get lucky. You got to stay healthy. You got to have your best players peak. You got to make sure that the offensive line continuity, you don't lose a guy here or there. I mean, it's going to be more about luck than ever before. And maybe that's why casting a really wide net as far as the postseason is concerned is beneficial, because it will give teams more opportunities that might have to figure some things out throughout the year.
Rod tweets in, I think the caller was talking about watered down playoff games, which I think we will get. What exactly would you be referencing with watered down playoff games? Would that be games that we've already seen? So would it be South Carolina, Georgia again? Or are you referencing the lower tier teams against the Power Five? So LSU versus Boise, if they were to get in. LSU versus Utah State, if they were able to get in. Because I don't know if that would always be problematic. Now, the repeat games, we've already addressed that. But we also saw Arizona State be very competitive. So we saw Boise be competitive. So I don't. It depends on which type you're talking about. Steven Isbell tweets in, cupcake games should have never been a thing. Not 3+ of them anyway. Season ticket holders pay a fortune and get 3-7 home games as to what amounts to glorified scrimmages, like what A-Day used to be. Give me more conference games all day. We reference them as lettuce games here because we like cupcakes. as most people do. Cupcakes are not a bad thing. Cupcakes are actually a great thing. No one needs more lettuce. So references as lettuce games. Those are going away no matter what. And Greg and I talked last week about the reports that are out now of the 9th conference game going in the SEC. The money looks like it's going to be there. It's going to happen. And then it's already been proven, Greg, you lose 2-3 games, you can still get in. So why would you not? I do think we're at a little bit of a crossroads right now as to our team's going to keep scheduling easier games and just hope for the best, or schedule harder games and play the we deserve it card. What's going to be the route that is most beneficial moving forward? And some of the leagues are stepping up against that, saying, hey, you got to have one Power 5 team schedule, non-conference. To which Florida State, Florida, Clemson, South Carolina, Georgia Tech, Kentucky, Louisville all say, okay, cool, we got it, we're good.
Yep.
We've had that. Been there.
But do you think, and I don't know if I know the answer to this. I don't think anyone knows right now, because I think it's going to be a year-to-year basis. If a team is just absolutely smacking teams from start to finish and plays nobody, like in Indiana, like people get critical of Indiana last year, but I think Indiana, you and I watched them, that was one of the top 12 teams as far as consistently playing to their potential. Now, is their potential as high as a team like, I don't know, LSU? If all the stars aligned, is their potential as high as an Alabama or an Ole Miss? Probably not. But they consistently hit their ceiling every single week. And I got to give them immense credit for that. Now, against Ohio State, didn't work out. You know, they kind of wet the bed and had a couple of major special teams errors and got way behind the 8 ball. But I think it's going to just depend on the year, because I'm not sure we'll know. Are we better off scheduling hard, or are we better off scheduling easy? I'm not sure we'll know the answer to that. I think it's going to be purely based on the year. Some years it's going to be more beneficial to have a hard strength of schedule. Some years it's going to really be beneficial to pass the eye test against lower level competition. And I don't know if we can properly forecast what the priority will be that one season right now before the season even takes place.
Rob tweets in, it should contract to 10, play-in games for 7v10 and 8v9, quarters on campus, semi, and finals at the bowls. Why play-in games? What? Just have a round of the playoffs. Why do we need to call it a play-in game? That's just a playoff game anyway. We just have to be like the NCAA tournament. Why is everybody hung up on a play-in game? Are you not in or out? Well, they might be in. They got to play their way in. What did we just do in the regular season then? Not play our way in or out? Let's have an extra round. Why do you want to call it a play-in game, Greg?
See, like my whole thing is I'm okay with a play-in game, but guess what? Keep the playoffs at 4 teams. like because if you want to do a
playing more
game,
rounds, then like you're having playoff rounds to get into the playoff.
Correct, which I'm fine with. Like I wish there was 4 teams in the playoffs every year, and you had play-in games to figure out who those 4 teams were. So in the SEC, guess what? You have 4 teams that are playing for one spot. At Big Ten,
so you're saying you're just doing it within your own conference, though?
Yes. I wish the
that's a little that's a little bit different. I would say
the playoff.
Yeah, I would say that doesn't necessarily feel like extended rounds of the actual playoff. To me that's different. But saying that we're doing like the NCAA tournament does, and we're gonna now Alabama, you're not in, but you gotta go to Fort Worth and play your way in every year, like against Fresno State. Like, stop it. Just make it a round of the playoff. Is this like an ego thing? That we only want the teams that really deserve it to say they got into the actual playoff. Just make the extra rounds and go. It seems a little bit silly to me.
But one more thing on this, like, if you have the play-in games, and isn't this just about more inventory that can be sold? Like, let's just call it what it is.
Yes, and thus extra revenue to be spread around to those teams that get in. Yes.
And thus spread around to the teams that even don't get in. So, for instance, the SEC now with this play-in format with 4 teams, automatic qualifiers, 1 and 2 will play for the championship game traditionally, like they always have, right? Nothing changes there. But you now have 2 additional games that can be sold for a significant amount of money, which will in turn make the SEC more profitable, which will make their fund for players when they get to the rev share model, which will give them more access to resources to pay players, which will give them more access to resources to support other programs. It's just about creating more revenue streams. And I get that. I'm fine with that, as long as we don't sacrifice everything that college football has been built on. I don't think we will. I really don't, because I feel like last year, I look at the numbers in the college football playoff. Are the tweaks that I'd make? Absolutely, I'd make tweaks. I would not play the games 10 days apart. I would try to keep as much momentum as humanly possible from week to week to week, and I'd play the games on Thursday nights. Like, I would do whatever I had to do to make sure that the playoffs don't last a month and change, because by the time you get to the end, people are almost exhausted. There's almost too much fatigue. So I think there's ways of adjusting it and tweaking it and making the schedule more consumable. But I also acknowledge that at some point, guys, we as fans are going to adjust our own personal behavior. And the college football that my sons and daughter will grow up with is different than the college football that I grew up with. But guess what? The college football that I grew up with was different than the college football that my dad grew up with. Okay, so we're just going to have to adjust and tweak. And while it might feel different, it doesn't mean it's worse. It's just going to be different. And we're going to have to get on board with that.
Spring weather in Alabama could be different. That's why you need the reliability of a Trane, voted America's most trusted HVAC brand. Right now, you can receive up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Trane home comfort systems. Find out more at Trane.com. It's hard to stop a Trane. More on a potential 16-team playoff. You want it? You against it? Next, Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning talking potential 16-team playoff. What would the good be? What would the bad be? Which would outweigh the other? Good or bad moving forward if we were to head this way? There are multiple reports coming out of presidents meeting in New York or ADs meeting in New York last week, and discussing this, potentially some momentum moving forward. Jody tweets in, at Cole Cubic, you're telling me that I ran the gauntlet, finished third in the SEC, but that isn't good enough to make the playoff. It meant nothing. Now I have to play the number 6 team after finals week, and my quarterback's girlfriend dumped him, and we lose, so the season's canceled by 1 game. I mean, if that causes your quarterback to throw in multiple interceptions, I don't see how that's the commissioners of the Power Five's fault.
No.
But
what if the guard had his girlfriend dump him? I like the quarterback be able to bounce back a little faster than the guard.
Yeah, no.
What? Just being real. The other thing I would say about that, and talk to Damian and them earlier, they were talking about this. Y'all, the 3 seed in the SEC is going to get an at-large anyways in that scenario. Like, do you really think the 3 seed would miss the playoff in that scenario? No, but their path just became exponentially more difficult because they might have to now play, the number 3 overall seed in the Ohio State Buckeyes. Like, I mean, that's I think. So I don't think the 3 seed's going to miss the playoffs out of the SEC if they lose to the 6. So I just wouldn't be too concerned there. Like, if you take care of business in the regular season, you finish 3rd in the SEC, you're in the playoff more than likely. Just how hard will your path be is the big question at that point.
It's fair. When we begin to weigh these against one another, if we were to go to 16, and we've talked about some of the bad for sure, we haven't had a lot of people mention much of the good. You have said, Greg, that you will kind of take a step back and wait to see because it could be good. It might be bad. What would some of the other good be if we went here? I mean, outside of headliner games that we're going to call, quote, playoff games. So those are always going to be more important. I mean, listen,
yes,
there's people paying attention to the NBA right now that hadn't watched it all year.
For sure.
What do we always say about hockey? Best playoffs in sports.
Well, you get more home games. Assuming everything else they maintain the same format. Now, as a top 4 seed, your reward is to host a home playoff game, which, look, that was one of the great experiences of my life, if I'm going to be honest. Like, in my sporting life, in this profession, calling that home playoff game at Notre Dame was, I don't know if it was my favorite game I ever called because the game was not overly competitive. But the build-up, the lead-up, the excitement on campus, the buzz, the energy surrounding the environment, it was incredible. And to have more of those, to have 4 more in this format is extremely exciting.
What do you think coaches want more right now, though? And I honestly mean this, and I say this based on some of the conversation that was generated after the second round last year. Do they want more home games or less games?
Well, based on last year, it's an easy question. Everybody wanted less games. But I do think now, after how things went last year, and dude, you have to remember the circumstances of how the teams played coming off the bye. Because remember, not only were they rusty, but they made uncharacteristic mistakes that they didn't make all season long. How many punt returns happened in those playoff games in which teams were coming off a bye? Like, I think Texas had one. You had a couple botched mistakes by Georgia. Very uncharacteristic mistakes. I think Penn State had a punt return, or like they blocked a punt against Boise. Like, these teams that didn't play for a month and they're going against a team that just won a playoff game the week before, they were rusty. So I think if you were to ask the coaches now, all right, I might want to knock some of the rust off in a home environment in which it's crazy hostile for the opposition. I think that might be how coaches would act. And by the way, I feel like people are just trying to clown the show now with some of the noise that's being made in the background. This is pretty hilarious. I feel like what next? They're going to roll a tank through here, and it's going to be a little bit loud. But I can tell you where it's not going to be loud. It's the complaints that you'll get by going to Bill Smith. There'll be no complaints because it's just such a great experience. I mean, these are the very best in the business. Right up the short drive in Pullman, I-65 exit 310, Bill Smith Buick GMC. They have won Dealer of the Year 5 straight years, 5 straight national championships. It's deals that you just won't find anywhere else. They're the largest in Alabama. They're also more likely to have you return as a repeat customer than anywhere because 75% of their business is repeat customers. It's because you have a better experience when you shop at Bill Smith. So take the short drive up to Coleman, go get yourself a GMC Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate. It's the nicest truck on the market. I mean, it's amazing. Amazing. The finish is absolutely beautiful. You can get it for $15,000 off sticker price. Pay nearly $87,000 somewhere else. Well, at Bill Smith, you're going to spend under 71,805. Deals like that, you just won't find anywhere else. So take the short drive to Coleman. Go see Andy Cole. Go see Jonathan Yeager. They'll take great care of you just like they're taking great care of me. I'm a repeat customer. I know you guys will have the same experience I did when I bought multiple vehicles from Bill Smith Buick GMC. So take the short drive to Coleman, I-65, exit 310, Highway 31. Or you can also shop online. Have delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right, so we have a poll question up now at Mac and Cube. Do you want the college football playoff to expand to 16 teams? It is a resounding answer, one direction. We'll tell you what it is next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Poll question up now at Mac and Cube. You can go vote. Late ad here in 8 minutes. Jamar Smith, Stallions quarterback, going to join the show and discuss him coming in to help bring the Stallions back and get a win against Houston, 33-25 yesterday. Just a magnificent game. Largest halftime deficit overcome in UFL history. Stallions were down 13 at the half and found a way to come back and win that game. Jamar Smith, the sixth quarterback to play in a game for Birmingham this year, helped them be able to do it. So pretty cool. We'll talk to him here in 8 minutes. Greg, 91 people have voted since this poll's been up for just a couple of minutes, and 64% say no. They do not want the college football playoff to go to 16 teams.
I'm surprised it's that low, to be honest with you. But I also think that people don't like change. People don't like new. I think last year's playoff was a success. Now, you tell me, do you think it was a success?
Yeah. I mean, all in all, I think so. I don't know what people like wanted. People who would say no, it wasn't. I don't know what do they want?
In?
Yeah, probably, or their team to win. So most college football fans, if your team didn't win it, it's not great. So you might say, yeah, it's fine, it's good, it's cool, but it's not going to be great.
Right. And I do think that people were a little bit bothered by, the SMU and the Indiana inclusion, and then those two teams not performing well in the playoff. That is going to turn people off. So I think because of where we live, knowing that South Carolina and Bama were left out in favor of Indiana and SMU, I can understand why people would have maybe some animosity towards the system. Doesn't mean the system's wrong. It just means that they are going to have animosity towards it, and they believe that it could have been done differently. Maybe teams would have been more competitive, what have you. So all that being said, I still think that college football isn't going anywhere. I still think the popularity of the sport will continue to increase. And I just remain optimistic about the sport's future. I just could not be more bullish on it, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I agree with that, but would you also agree that we do need to start being a little bit careful? We do need to start thinking about the fact of, okay, are we pushing people away? Are people who normally would never leave now potentially on the table to say, I'm over it, I'm done, I can't do this anymore?
Yes, but I also think those people will say that today on May 12th, and then on December 21st, when there's a playoff game going down, and they're sitting there wondering how they're going to spend their Saturday afternoon, they'll be there. I mean, that's the reality. I'm not saying you have to like it. I'm just saying you're still probably going to consume it, whether you want to or not. And I think all those people say, I'm not watching the playoffs last year. I bet you they watched them. I don't know anybody that didn't watch them. I mean, 17 million other people watched them alongside you. So,
well, we had people that tweeted in acting like they didn't watch them, saying, they watched reruns of Hell's Kitchen and Brady Bunch and whatever else.
I'm not watching, but can you believe Penn State's quarterback threw that pick at the end?
I would never.
I just think
you see that reverse?
I think it's. The left guard got smoked all game long, and they didn't replace him. But man, I didn't watch. That's just what I read. Come on, man. I think. Look, remember, there's gambling aspects of this. There are more consumers than ever before. Live sports has never been in higher demand, and I think people are now finally looking at college football. People that have never watched it before and saying, "Okay, I actually understand this playoff format. I might give it a try." And as a result, we're attracting more casual college football consumers. So in theory, it's making the sport stronger. It just doesn't look like the college football we grew up with, which is okay. It's just different.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just that there are going to be some people, too, that say this is just more of the SEC and the Big Ten taking charge, and I don't like that. Even if they are fans of certain schools in those two leagues, they want what college football always was or has been in their mind. So we'll see how it goes. Jamar Smith, quarterback of the Birmingham Stallions, is going to be with us next on Mac and Cube in the morning. That's the call from Joe Tessitore yesterday on ABC as Jamar Smith brought the Birmingham Stallions back. Well, he'll join us on the Higginbotham Hotline here in just a moment. But for over 50 years, my friends at Royal Automotive have been helping our friends and neighbors experience how car buying should be. With 4 Royal-owned dealerships in one location, the selection and savings unmatched. Royal, Buick GMC, Royal Volkswagen, Royal Automart, Volvo Cars of Vestavia Hills, all at the corner of I-65 and Highway 31 of Vestavia. From sales to service, the team at Royal can help you find the ride you want and keep you rolling. When is it time to start searching for your next vehicle? Royal's the only place to find over 20 unique truck and SUV options in one spot. Corner of I-65 and Highway 31 in Vestavia. Remember, for every ride, there's Royal. Jamar Smith, one of the quarterbacks for the Birmingham Stallions, the 6th to play in a game this year, joins us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. Jamar, you come in late, bring this team back, find a way to get a win. First and foremost, you announced your retirement from football in March. What have you been doing since then before you returned to the Birmingham roster?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Thank you for having me. It's a great opportunity for me. When I talked to Coach Rose right before the season had started, I was already doing some detailing work with cars, just trying to find something that I wanted to do while trying to go back to school and finish my master's. And then I also started working at Dunkin' Donuts off of Acton Road in Vestavia. So those are the things I've been doing, and they gave me a great schedule to work in the morning from about 5 to 12 or 6 to 1, and then work out and train in the afternoon at Amp Fitness Gym right off of 280. And then I would throw with my quarterback trainer, Price. So it was just a great opportunity. I'm really glad that I had to grow up a little bit, the time away from football. I spent time with my son, grew up a little bit mentally, and just challenged myself to do something different. And I was hitting the gym like 6 days out of the week, just going hard in the gym, went dark mode in there, just doing a lot of weightlifting and just finding that inner peace, and it's really helped me a lot. So I'm very appreciative of that.
Well, Jamar, I don't know if you've thought about a career in radio, but the seamless way in which you drop in plugs for all the businesses around town, I feel like you might have one there if you want to get into that one. So
yes, sir.
That might be something in your future.
Most definitely. No, but just the great people I've been around, they gave me a great opportunity to keep my schedule. And they knew what was going on. I tried to keep in contact and communication with them about if a team calls and Birmingham called the week I had to come in there for 1 week, and then guys got hurt, and I was like, might be a possibility of me, going to Arlington to help the team, and they were all on board. They were very excited for me. And they're giving me the opportunity to come back and do more with the career program where they have in the company. So it's been a great opportunity for me all around.
Jamar, so help us understand. We always wonder, hey, you got to, be able to create chemistry, and you need reps, and we always talk about that at all levels of football. And all of a sudden, you get a call, and it's like, all right, it's go time. And yet, you haven't really been practicing with the team. You haven't been doing any of these things with the team. How are you able to kind of hit the ground running that quickly when we talk forever about the importance of practice and preparation?
Yep. Yeah, practice. You got to practice. I know AI was like, practice. I'm really talking about practice, but, a lot of people need practice, especially for football, especially offensive football, especially in my position as a quarterback. You need the reps, you need the timing, you need to work on your accuracy, your drops, your different footworks, the situations, and get the connection with your guys. And the thing I will credit to is I've been working with my quarterback trainer. He's over the Price Elite Quarterback Academy. He's done a great job with some of the guys that I've met there. He's done a great job with me, just focusing on the things I need to work on, small adjustments whenever something is off, just make sure I feel comfortable. So I've been working with him, just trying to stay ready or just work on things. And being in the gym has helped me stay in shape and just have a different mental tone whenever I step onto the field. I think I unlocked a different type of animal right now, so it's been a good feeling for me. But just the connection with the guys, they were all with me. They were just saying, stay ready, man. We with you, man. Whatever you need, man, we're gonna do the things together. We're all aboard. And when I ran onto the field, all the guys were like, hey, man, let's go, man. And so I knew I had the guys behind me supporting me, so I just knew I had to do what I had to do to make sure the offense was moving the ball.
Jamar Smith, Birmingham Stallions quarterback, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You guys all know you're one rolled ankle away, one helmet being knocked off away from getting in the game, but what was your realistic thought of actually getting in the game for meaningful reps when you ran out of the tunnel?
Oh, man, just stay ready. It really took me back to the first year of the USFL. Just staying ready, making sure, when your numbers call, you go in there, execute. I knew the game plan. I just wanted to make sure I knew Coach Holtz's checks, everything that they were doing so we could counter their attacks and everything. Just go out there and have fun. Now, it's been a long time for me, almost 2 years since I haven't stepped onto a field. And just getting back out there, wasn't nervous, but just making sure that I could go out here and execute the offense and try to get a points train rolling. And we did that. So just trying to bring the energy. I'm big on energy right now, just trying to be electric in every possible way I can. Just either on the field, get my guys together, or just being there, and I'm grateful for this opportunity right now.
Well, it's got to be exciting, and look, you carry over momentum, and I think we in this league know that it's not so much about how you start, it's more about how you finish. So how do you feel like the team is equipped now for the momentum that they might be able to carry to the rest of the regular season into the postseason, hopefully?
Well, I think the team knows, man. We got a battle, man. Like you said earlier, I'm number 5. I'm the 5th quarterback that's taking a snap this year. So the team is the team's going to be the team regardless, and it's a culture that the team has built, that we've built since the beginning of the year. Just staying together, no matter what's going on around us or within us. We're going to make sure that we go out there and play for the guy on our right, play for the guy on our left, and make sure that we go out here and have fun and get the win.
One thing, Jamar Smith, Birmingham Stallions quarterback, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, that we know aided you, helped you a little bit, was the familiarity with the offense, with Coach Holtz. Mm-hmm. Some of the pieces around you've played with guys like Jay Sternberger, Ricky Person, but there's other guys that weren't there, and they've got to be parts of the offense that are a little bit different. Take us through the difficulties of what was different, because I think a lot of people look at it as, well, just plug and go. He's been there before. What was difficult about getting in there and getting back acclimated with this team?
Yeah. People could say it's plug and go, which is understandable. You could do that with everything, but you still got to have a connection with the guy. You still have to know how a guy runs this. One guy might run a route at 10 yards. One guy might just run his at 12 yards or run it different. It's just a connection you got to have with the guys. Cade, he's new, and Kemp, they're new. Everyone else, I've thrown with them for the past about 2 or 3 years, so I've had a good connection with those guys, and just making sure that I get more reps, because I really haven't had live bullet reps with those guys. So it's just making sure I get more reps, knowing how they like this and whatever, just being comfortable with, throwing the ball at, okay, I know where he's at, or I know what he's going to do. So it's just about getting comfortable with the guys that's out there so you can execute the play and give them the ball so they can make plays.
Did it feel like, I can't even imagine. I remember in the league, this, like that preseason game every year, the first one, it's like, golly, I haven't seen live action in a year. And it felt like, and even though it's base defenses, it is, guys are flying a million miles an hour. And by like a quarter, things start to slow down a little bit. You kind of readjust and you're back. Yep. But how long did it take you being thrust in there for things to kind of calm down, settle down for you, so that maybe you're seeing things a little faster than maybe you were at the beginning of the game?
Really, after the first play, after I came in there, I think it was the 3rd and 5, I threw an out route to, I think it was Davion, and the guy broke it up. And, I saw the field really well. It was something the quarterbacks and Coach Holtz talked about, the looks that they give us. And I was like, okay, I see the field good. Nothing's changed. I feel good, So we're just going to go ahead and execute and just play ball. It's not rocket science. It could be a little faster, but when the game started going, I think we got the ball we got the touchback, or we got the ball at the -25, and then we had like 5 minutes left. I was like, all right, this is what we do. We always practice the 30 for 30 situation, which we had 5 minutes, but it was a situation where we could you could go into the 2-minute warning, we could score and have a up scoring on the lead. So it was just something that we've always done since college, just preparing for moments. It could be a 4-minute offense, 5-minute offense to win the game or close the game out. So I just try to, understand what Coach Holtz wants. Go to my movement keys, make the read simple, not try to do too much, move the chains, and just put the ball in the end zone. That was my main focus.
What was one thing that maybe you had forgotten or needed to be reminded of, specifically in this league with some of the new rules, the communication, different parts of that?
Yeah, it's a lot of rules. One rule, I didn't know that they could challenge a play after the ball was snapped and the guy is tackled. I didn't know that, but, we're not going to get too much into that. I don't want to get in trouble. But with some of the calls, the playbook is still just about the same, but it's just a lot of calls that are different. So I remember in the first 2 weeks, I would coaches be calling the play, and I look at somebody like, "What's that?" Oh, okay, that's what it is. Okay, he changed. Okay, I got you. And so when we were at practice, coach was calling some. Like I said, all the plays are just the same, just different tags and everything. And coach said a tag I didn't know, and I looked back, I was like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Oh, okay, that's what it is. Okay, gotcha." So it's just the communication, the language just a bit different, but the system's still the same. So it took me literally a practice just to understand what was going on, write it down, and then I was good. So.
What's been next for you? What's the conversation been like around the facility or with the coaching staff since that game?
I told Coach, I'm just ready to work. Whatever I got to do to help, to win, to be here, to help everyone achieve whatever they need to achieve. You know, so I love to play football. It's a great opportunity for me and a lot of guys just to put cleats on, put shoulder pads on, put helmet on. If a guy wants to go to the next level, he gets to get film. If a guy that loves to play football, he gets to do that until his gas tank runs on E. So. I'm just real thankful for everything they've done with this league. Just continue to try to grow and just give more opportunities for guys that just love the game of football.
Was it hard not to gain weight working at Dunkin' Donuts?
Actually, it was not. The whole store knew I would not eat any donuts. I stayed away from bread and pasta for a while right now. But it was very tough. Trust me, it was very tough.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Especially the croissants. The croissants, when they come out of the oven, it's a pleasant smell. I will say that. So they can almost get you. So, but it was a great day working there. It kind of got me up to my strict eating a little bit. I kind of got away from a lot of the carbs. I still get carbs intake, but I just try to stay away from the carbs and everything. Just the extra fat that weighs on you. Just trying to tone up in areas and really get buff. I really was in the weight room doing a lot of upper body, like just. Trying to look the swole, because I never got the chance to really be swole upper half in college because I was a quarterback. I was really strong lower half, you know. So I was really in the gym just going heavy upper body and just doing my 30-minute incline walk or do about one or 2 miles a day. So it's been really good for me.
I love it. I mean, bathing suit season is right around the corner. Jay Moore, you got to get ready.
Yes,
I mean, gotta get it ready. So Beachbody coming up.
Gotta stay ready.
Well, man, I know a lot of people in Birmingham are happy to see you back. A lot of people thrilled with what they saw yesterday. We're happy for you. Congrats, man. It was really cool to see it. And look forward to catching up with you again soon. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Yes, sir. It's a blessing. Thank you for having me. You all have a blessed day.
There you go. Jamar Smith, quarterback of the Birmingham Stallions, one of the quarterbacks for the Birmingham Stallions. Matt Corral, Cookus, Magoo, Andrew Paisley, Jalen Morton, and now Jamar Smith have all played quarterback. Morton, by the way, Southwest Kansas Stars he was playing for in the Arena League.
Oh.
I mean, sometimes you got to go find a guy.
Gotta go get him.
Yeah.
What do you say, Damien? Stay ready, never have to get ready?
Hey, preach it.
Unfortunately, we haven't been dialed into the Arena League this year without the controversy, so it's probably good for them, not great for us.
Right. The UFL
hasn't been quite as interesting for us to get in there, but either way, yeah. UFL, we're definitely dialed in. But pretty cool to see him come in, get that win last night. Birmingham was 6 of 14 on third down, 2 of 2 on fourth down, overcame that 13-point halftime deficit, as I mentioned before. That's the largest in UFL history. Birmingham rushed 32 times, 153 yards. Jamar was 3 of 5, 63 yards, ran 4 times for 9 yards, and had a rushing touchdown. And they had to get past Zaquandre White and company. Zaquandre had a 52-yard touchdown run. That was more than he had in any game this year, just that run. Total yardage was 397 to 229 in favor of Birmingham. So Stallions get to 5-2. Houston goes to 3-4. Memphis was eliminated from the playoffs yesterday as they went down to St. Louis 19-9. Rodrigo Blankenship stays perfect on the season. He's now 16 of 16 on field goals for the year. Battlehawks 5-2. Showboats 1-6. Michigan took down Arlington 25-24. That was actually a great game on, what was that, Saturday? And then D.C. took out San Antonio 32-24. San Antonio also eliminated from postseason. D.C. 5-2 on the season. So I will say, I think this is the closest it's been top to bottom in the UFL. or maybe even like UFL, XFL, USFL all combined. This is the closest that I think all the teams have been to one another. It doesn't feel like there's a clear, oh, that team's going to go win it. I think St. Louis could win it. I definitely think Michigan could win it. I think Birmingham could win it. I think DC could win it. And I think Arlington, by the way, does not look like a 3-4 team on film. I mean, Luis Perez does a lot of nice things. That defensive line is really good. Like, they could be a team that's a bit of a problem. And Houston looked like they were kind of coming on. And obviously they built that lead on Birmingham, and then Birmingham's able to come back. So it could be a fun final 3-4 weeks of the season here and then into the postseason for the UFL. So I was on that St. Louis-Memphis game over the weekend. I did not know that they were taking half of one side of the stands out at the Liberty Bowl. Did you know they're taking that much of the old seats out, GMAC? It's like the whole middle portion of one side is gone. Yes.
Like their renovation plan for the Liberty Bowl is going to be phenomenal. Like, I'm very, very excited about it. Obviously, been to Memphis a handful of times. I've called games in that stadium. It's a cool historic venue, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and I knew they were
cool
renovating
place.
it. I just didn't know that much of the actual like middle portion of the stands were coming out.
Oh, no, dude. It's like full-scale renovation, adding luxury seating on that side. Like, it's really going to be awesome. It's going to be state-of-the-art when it's done.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. All right, so that's kind of your UFL update. A little bit on the Stallions as well. Jamar Smith joining the show. I mean, you got to respect it. Going to the gym, trying to get the upper body in shape. He's never been able to focus on that, obviously, because you got to throw. And you don't want to, you can't overdo it. And then working at Dunkin' Donuts. And now here he is, quarterback in the Stallions, finding a way to go get a win. I respect it, GMAC. I mean, you see a lot of these guys are kind of just sitting around waiting. He was staying ready, but obviously understood it might be time to start looking at some other things as well.
Sure, and hey, but stay ready. Naturally, stay ready. And if for whatever reason your number's called, you're ready to roll. You know, I mean, I think it's great.
It was a cool game over the weekend. Stallions get the win, and there's more in college football to talk about on the other side, including players in and out of the transfer portal. We'll give you an update right after this on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Talking college football playoff, 16 teams. Would you be against it or for it? Some other college football news that we will get to here in just a moment. First, Greg, tell our listeners about Crocker Moving Service.
Well, they're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. When they need your whole home packed up and moved, your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website is CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
Some Major League Baseball over the weekend. Braves dropped 2 of 3 to the Pirates, now 19-21. They'll get Washington at home 6:15 tonight. Yankees take 2 of 3 from the A's, 23-17, first in the AL East. They're at Seattle at 8:40 tonight. Dodgers split 4 with Arizona over the weekend. They are 27-14, first in the NL West. NBA playoffs yesterday. Oak City took down Denver 92-87. That series tied at 2. Cleveland goes down to Indianapolis. That series is 3-1 in favor of the Pacers. Tonight, 6:30, you get Boston at the Knicks. Knicks lead that series 2-1. Can the Celtics make it 3? And then at 9 tonight, 9 o'clock start. Yeah. Minnesota at Golden State. Minnesota leads that series 2-1. I mentioned that we would talk player movement in college football. We will. But first, Greg, a player that's not moving to another team, and we have wondered kind of what's going on out there. The name is around. The name is floating. Not sure what the intention was. Cam Rising has announced he will retire from college football. He will medically retire, so will not attempt to continue to play any more college football. And kind of finally closes the chapter of that book that we were a little bit unsure of, but hate it for him, but not going to end up playing anywhere else.
Well, it kind of bums me out a little bit, and I know that they're, as sad as it is, there have been some Utah fans that have kind of turned, understandably. Some of the gray area of his rehabilitation after the knee injury, thinking he was going to play, not playing, cleared, not cleared. I can understand the frustration surrounding some of the issues towards the latter half of his career. But I also hope, and I've kind of said this last week, I kind of hope that, and I don't expect fans to allow cooler heads to prevail. I would never expect that. I don't think we should expect that. But this is a guy that led Utah to back-to-back Pac-12 championships. This is a guy that led Utah to back-to-back Rose Bowl appearances. I know they came up short in both those Rose Bowls, but that guy took Utah to a new level. Utah, remember, and granted, I know they were great under Alex Smith, but that was back in the WAC or the Mountain West or whatever it was. I know they beat us in the Sugar Bowl in 2008. They had an amazing, amazing program, great program, but they'd never reached the heights that they'd reached with Cam Rising at the helm. So I just hope that in an effort to kind of remember him as an all-time great Utah Ute, they focus more on the positives and not so much the end of his career, which was obviously very disappointing.
No doubt. Played a lot of good football for Utah. Speaking of Utah, transfer portal updates. They're going to get LSU defensive lineman Dylan Battle. ECU has a new quarterback, Greg. Former Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Northwestern quarterback Mike Wright has committed to ECU.
We are back. How back are we?
I guess pretty back. Not sure where ECU went or where they were, but yeah, they're back in it. Oklahoma State continues to reel in players from big-name schools. They're going to get Miami safety Zaquan Patterson. He was a true freshman last year, played in every game, 19 tackles. And they get Nebraska offensive lineman Grant Segrin. So, you and I have talked about this. I don't know what Oak State's doing, how they're doing it, but they just continue to stockpile at least players that come with name recognition and come from power programs. What that ends up being, I have no idea, but you give Coach Gundy and the staff there a lot of credit for the guys that they're at least able to draw into campus.
Yeah, and I'll say this. You talk to people that are familiar, and I'm not overly familiar, I'll be honest with you, but you talk to people that are familiar, a lot of people seem to think that they're going to have a chance to make some noise. Just some of the guys they've brought in, some of the talent they've been able to accumulate. A lot of people think that Oklahoma State's going to be back in the mix this year. And Oklahoma State's kind of been one of those teams for a long time. When you give them preseason expectations, they often disappoint. But if you basically say they got no shot, that's when they make noise. I don't know why that is, but it would not be surprising to me if we fast forward to the end of the year and Oklahoma State's kind of in the Big 12 mix. I don't know, as the clock and the calendar turns to November.
Okay. Also, North Carolina, who has been in the news for a lot of reasons. Some good, some bad, some questionable, some bring more uncertainty. They're going to go get Oklahoma State, speaking of the Cowboys, linebacker Jonathan Agumadu, and Arkansas tight end Shamar Easter. So, once again, similar to Oak State, you give North Carolina credit, Greg. They're at least going out and getting bodies. How capable, what they're going to turn into when they're there, we don't really know. It's tough to tell, but going out and finding guys that have played and have been at bigger programs to at least come in and hopefully contribute.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be an interesting thing. When you bring in all these guys, you always wonder about how much will the culture be sacrificed. You know, that's always my biggest question is when you bring in all these guys, do the aspects of the organization remain the same year over year? And I don't know if you'll ever really know the answer to that, but when you're in a situation like that and maybe you're not, the expectations aren't crazy, at least you give yourself a fighting chance if you have the personnel. You know, I don't know, who cares about culture? Like, you give yourself a chance. So at that point, now, you want to win a championship, you want to win a natty, yeah, you need culture, obviously. But I don't know if that's a realistic expectation for most programs. So give yourself a chance to make some noise, and who knows, maybe it stars align. You have a great year like Indiana or Arizona State did last year by having a ton of portal guys that come in and kind of jumpstart the reboot.
Also out of the portal, Purdue is going to get former Auburn tight end Rico Walker. And UAB is going to get Alabama A&M corner Delvin Gully, 6'1", 186 pounds, and Kent State offensive tackle Kyrick Mason, 6'3", 285 pounds. So, Coach Dilfer, you can ask him about those two today, Greg, that he's pulling in out of the portal. I did want to, before we completely left our portal discussion, shift over to basketball for just a moment, because there are some that we see that we just kind of say, what? Now, first, Texas Tech, Devin Cambridge, who was at Auburn, went to Arizona, now Texas Tech. He's going to receive a medical hardship year, so he'll get one more year of eligibility. So we'll see him in college basketball again next year. But the one that may take the cake would be the Vanderbilt Commodores getting, I'll just say, a guard, Duke Miles. Has anyone seen the tape on Duke Miles?
Name doesn't ring a bell.
Better question might be
Darius Miles. Is that Darius Miles, but in disguise?
Based on the amount of places he's been, maybe. Because if I asked you, had you seen the tape, you would have needed to have seen tape from Troy, High Point, Oklahoma, Virginia, Texas A&M, or now Vanderbilt.
Well, he's doing like an SEC whip around
With Virginia and High Point.
Right.
He has just shown up and committed to his sixth school.
I don't feel like that's that many.
I mean, it's a lot.
How good is his jersey collection going to be?
It's going to be immaculate.
Framed jerseys.
Roy G. Biv, man. He's got the colors.
He's covered up. He's got it all.
He's got it all. Okay.
6 schools, guys.
Cole, I feel like you haven't weighed in here. You don't like that? You don't like this trend?
It feels like a bit overkill.
Come on, a bit.
I'll be honest with you. The most surprising part is that Vanderbilt would take him.
Well, what if he can play?
Like assistant coach comes in. Hey, I got this kid Miles. We can get him. Where's he been? Well, Troy, High Point, Oklahoma, Virginia, Texas A&M. What happened at those? Well, the one place he wasn't getting enough minutes. Okay, but the other place he had 2 other guys. Well, he kind of got kicked off the team. What about the 4th place? What about the 5th place? Hey, there got to be a point in time when you sit there and go, is he going to be available for every game? Like, does he even want to play?
But maybe it's one of those schools. Maybe that color is just not in his color wheel.
It's probably.
Like, I have a really difficult time rocking orange. You know what I mean? So maybe I didn't think about it, and then I put the jersey on. I look in the mirror. I'm like, it doesn't look good on me.
He's got maroon, silver at Troy. He's got blue, black at High Point. He's got what does Oklahoma call it? Scarlet?
Crimson.
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 And cream. Virginia, he's got navy and orange. So he is a little more in the garnet, scarlet, crimson.
Maybe it's not really a good look.
Genre.
Maybe look good, play good. And if you can't look good, you can't play good. You got to rock your wheel.
Oh.
Yes.
And you know what? If you can't play good, you go somewhere else.
Right. And to Greg's point, think about the guy from Troy that's going to Texas, and you talk about the academics requirements, a degree from Vanderbilt as opposed to a degree
That's definitely
from
it. Duke Miles is
Point.
definitely school that's taking him to all these places.
He's there to play school.
What do you think the major that they didn't have at High Point led him to go to Oklahoma?
Maybe.
What schooling did they not offer at Troy that allowed him to leave to go to Virginia?
Maybe like
there is
engineering?
one realistic. You did mention Virginia and you did mention Vanderbilt. What if we fast forward and Duke Miles is remarkably successful Fortune 500 company CEO with a degree from Virginia and a graduate degree from Vanderbilt?
It's impressive.
That's a pretty good place to be. That's not bad.
That's a heck of a resume.
That's pretty good.
Forgive me for not getting on board with believing that that's even somewhat feasible. I apologize.
So it says you were at Texas A&M for 3 months.
It's not a 4-year decision or a 4-month decision, Cole. It's a 40-year decision.
Let's go.
Where you go to school.
It's not a 4-school decision or a 5-school decision. It's a 6-school decision.
You're right.
You're right. You're right, guys.
You're so negative about it.
I just feel like it's real.
The coaches do this all the time.
Well, you got to think there was a coaching change at Texas A&M.
That's what the people that are going to counter are going to say.
There was a coaching change at Texas A&M. I hadn't seen the High Point tape, but maybe there was a coaching deciation and he could get out. Come on.
Cole, can you pull the High Point tape on the iPad?
Hey, Virginia had a coaching change.
See?
I'll go check. We know Troy didn't. They're in a tournament this year.
No.
I'll go check High Point and check his numbers and see what we can find on Duke Miles. But first, Greg, you have to wait for that. One thing you never have to wait for is your dental care.
That's because Family Care Dental has you taken care of at the urgent care office where you can be seen the same day. They offer routine cleanings with free teeth whitening, and they're accepting patients of all ages, with most insurance plans being accepted as well. Locations are all throughout the greater Birmingham area in Hoover, Homewood, Alabaster, and Fultondale, now open in Trustful. Call Family Care Dental for an appointment today. They can also see you on Fridays and Saturdays. It's Family Care Dental, 874-9605. That's Family Care Dental, 874-9605.
Troy, 8.6, 8.4, 14 points per game. High Point, 17.5 points per game. Oklahoma, 9.4 per game. So I guess the Texas A&M and Virginia were just kind of in for the semester, don't like you anymore.
Right. System fit.
Out of here. Yeah, but okay.
Well, A&M at Virginia, you're expected to play very tough defense.
Troy just lets him go. They don't play defense on that side of the ball.
I mean,
High Point just let him run around.
Yes,
he did go to High Point and boost the numbers. I will say that.
Hey,
the stats were padded a little bit there.
As someone that's never seen High Point play basketball outside of their 1 or 2 trips in the tournament, I feel like they're pretty free flowing offense.
1,348 career points, 338 career assists. So
there you go.
He's played some basketball.
He has definitely done that.
Yes. And he may need to head over to your CBD store
to
to get some products for arthritis based on the amount of basketball that he has played and still will play. If arthritis is an issue for you or your pet, go to your CBD store today. The largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world. It's not just arthritis, though. Anxiety for you or your pet. If you need better focus throughout the course of the day, they can help you with that. Skin care, gut health, they can help you with that at your CBD store. They just want to make your daily routine better. First company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. They've got the stamp seal on those products. They're going to meet and achieve a certain set of standards and tests to be signed off on. Check them out today. Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cage in Cleaver, Trustful just off 459. And now downtown in 5 Points, your CBD store where good health hits home. Back with a little more player news next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Talked a little player movement there around college football. I did kind of mention North Carolina, GMAC, and we didn't get to this topic last week. Actually, I think it was a little bit after we had a chance to share the airwaves and discuss some of the things that were happening around North Carolina. And we did talk a little bit about their roster and players being added to it, subtracted from it, and what that's going to look like. But there has been a little bit of extra controversy around that program. And with some of the reports that came out, I believe on Friday, that Jordan Hudson was not allowed in certain portions of the facility. The school has to release a statement after that saying that while she's not an employee of the university, she is actually welcome inside of the North Carolina football complex. If you don't know who Jordan Hudson is, that is Bill Belichick's girlfriend slash director of content for his production company, something along those lines. I'm not 100% certain.
And most recently, second runner-up in Miss Maine Team USA or Miss Maine USA pageant or something. I don't know. Miss Maine something.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw that this weekend. So that was big news.
Okay. She did it this weekend?
Yes, I guess. Yeah. And Belichick was in attendance, supposedly. Second runner-up.
Wait a minute.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, Miss Maine.
How old is she?
24?
What's the age limit on pageants? I don't know. Is there?
I think like if you still look good at 47, I think you can still go out there.
Okay. Jordan Hudson sports a sour look after failing to win Miss Maine USA pageant in front of Bill Belichick. That's according to New York Post. That's not my. Those aren't my words. I didn't.
You didn't write that?
That was not my word. No, I didn't.
Positive.
I didn't come up with that. Yes. Did she at least? Was she at least runner up?
No, second runner up. So I believe that's third place.
Third loser.
Bronze. Yeah.
Yes,
Second loser.
The bronze.
Bronze.
Still on the podium though.
Well, they were all bronze.
Yeah. True.
I get it.
You're right. That's a good one. That was a good one.
Good pun.
Well, they're walking out of the building holding hands.
He's supportive. That's great.
You give him credit for that.
Yeah. He's Bill Belichick. And the fact that she had a sour look, they're perfect for each other. He don't like losing. He's been a winner all his life, and she's a little frustrated that she didn't win.
I feel like she's got a lot going on.
It's an understatement.
Real estate mogul, pageants, directing content for production companies.
She's independent, man. She don't need Bill. She wants Bill.
Wow.
So yeah, she got on her own.
And how many times you heard her name before she was dating Bill Belichick?
That's because she works in the shadows. She's like Batman. Like she does her work.
She was in the shadows during that interview for sure. Just happened to have a camera on her.
Oh boy. Here we go.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. She was a go-getter. She didn't do it for the glitz and the glamour. She just go out there and grind. They're perfect for each other.
Yeah. She did tell the New York Post she almost dropped out after the CBS interview of Miss Maine. But I guess it just meant that much to her to represent her state.
Exactly. Overcoming adversity. She would have been a great
her
quarterback.
walk-up music would be the same as your son's. Young Jeezy put on for my city. She put on for her state. Not even the city, the whole state. I mean, she kind of didn't because she lost, but she tried. She tried to put on. We should have a follow-up with that. I tried to put on for my city.
She did.
Did not necessarily get it all done, but I worked.
I
attempted to put on for my city. On for my city. Put on. Tell our listeners about Polar Bear Services.
Well, Polar Bear Services is a one-stop shop. Can do so many things for you around your home. Call them. I've had them come out for plumbing. I've had them come out for electrical. Right now, electrical is great, especially knowing all the different things that could be running through the area. You lose power, they can install one of those whole home generators, but they really specialize in the HVAC system. That's their bread and butter. And we know it's going to get hot here very soon. We know it's going to be brutally hot here in no time whatsoever. So make sure that your whole home comfort system is up to the task with a system check and tune-up from Polar Bear Services. Wes and the guys are the best. You'll love them. They can serve pretty much all over the great state of Alabama. Birmingham, Anderson, Tuscaloosa, Huntsville, all those areas are covered by Polar Bear Services. So remember, if you have a problem with your electrical, plumbing, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. It's 497-BEAR.
Okay, outside of some of the potential distractions in Chapel Hill this year, you'll be on the golf course today in Trent Dilfer's tournament. What is the number one goal for you? Is it long putt, long drive, low score, group win?
Yeah, I mean, be competitive. I'd love for us to
but
win.
that's not something that we can come back tomorrow and address of whether or not you were or not. Like, we need one thing that we can measure. Were you able to accomplish this in your round today?
Well, I'm going to hit it far. That's always
so long drive. Okay, we'll just go long drive.
Just so that's not an area of focus. Like, I'm going to always hit it far. I'm not always going to necessarily know where it's going, but I will always hit it far. So I would say if I can make a long putt, I'd be up for that.
Okay. All right, so your long putt competition, we don't know what hole that's going to be on or what it's going to look like, but that's what you're gunning for. No. So we'll see if you can if you bring that trophy home tomorrow. Get it done, because last time you played a competitive tournament, it did not end well.
No, it didn't. Didn't play well. Didn't end well. But guess what? There's always today.
Exactly. It's the year of the McElroys.
You have a better partner today. So
yes, Dad's going to bring it home for us. He's holding it down solo right now, but I bet you he's ready.
Okay. Well, have fun. Hit him straight.
Thanks, boys.
McElroy heading off to Trent Dilfer's golf tournament. We will report back tomorrow with how he finished there. And we will give you one more segment of McElroy and Cubelic in the morning next. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Get to a couple bad box scores of the day here in just a moment. A couple in the SEC over the weekend, actually, that I feel like we need to reference and talk about. We'll get to those here shortly. First, I'll tell you about Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group. If you're looking for a new home in Central Alabama, it's got to be Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group. Why? Serve more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. Over 850 five-star Google reviews. Gusty's investing thousands of dollars in the latest tools like social media, photographers, more. Going to make sure they get top dollar for your home. How much could they get? Go to GustyGoulsGroup.com right now. Button at the top right-hand corner of your page. Smash that. Little information. They'll let you know what they think they can get. Brokered by eXp Realty. Since 2012, recognized both nationally and locally as Greater Birmingham, Alabama's #1 team in home sold. So, go to GustyGoulsGroup.com or call 205-542-1996. Even Google Gusty Goulas Group. Just see for yourself what everybody's saying. 205-542-1996 or go to GustyGoulsGroup.com today. Let's get to some bad box scores of the day. As I mentioned, a couple in the SEC over the weekend that I feel like we need to get to. First, we will start in the junior college ranks with the Herkimer College.
They are the Hawks.
They're the Generals.
Okay.
Taking on Genesee Community College.
Genesee?
Correct.
They're the Falcons.
They're the Panthers. And they went down 24-1 in 4.5 innings.
Oh, I was going to say 5.
4.5. They did not need to play the bottom of the 5th because they were out hit 18-0.
Oh, no hitter. Let's go.
In the game. Well, you lost 24-1. You didn't have a hit, but you scored a run.
You walked him in.
I'll give you a plus for that one. A quick performance that needs to be pointed out would be Shiru Sato, who was 2 for 4 and drove in 5, also walked twice with 2 home runs in the game.
Locked in at the plate.
Pretty solid.
I'm here for it.
Not bad. Unfortunately, Zowan Cohens was 1 for 4 and left 4 on base. There were still 9 batters left on base for Herkimer College who scored 24 runs in 4.5 innings.
See, it wasn't even a complete game and you won by 23. We can coach that. We can coach that. It's all good.
Not even close to a complete game. All right, in the SEC on, I believe it was Friday, the Georgia.
They are the Bulldogs.
Knocked off the Alabama.
They are the Crimson Tide.
19-3. Out hit the Crimson Tide in that game, 15-4. Alabama would come back and grab a couple at the end of the series. On Thursday.
Oh, boy.
The Auburn.
They are the Tigers.
Knocked off the South Carolina
Gamecocks
24-2.
What happened?
It was funny. I think so. I laugh at that too.
It happens.
24-2 for the Auburn Tigers, which they had a pretty decent day at the plate. A couple different players.
You don't say.
Had a decent player at the plate. It was the biggest win against South Carolina in school history. So obviously you look at kind of Auburn not only doing that, but it wraps up, I believe, their 10th out of the last 11 SEC series that they've won. It's been a nice run that they've been on so far. And they'll have some momentum heading into the SEC tournament. Just 20 hits for Auburn in the game.
I think that's reasonable.
Only 20.
That's how you handle business.
South Carolina mustered up 5.
It's a great day. I wonder if we were ever going to get to All Barn Radio.
Oh, we'll have to wait for Greg to leave. But I feel like we've pulled it off now.
I'm here for it.
And we've been able to accomplish it. There's not too many of those in SEC conference baseball. Like conference games, we don't get too many bad box scores. But we were able to pull off 2 this weekend as we near the SEC tournament. So it should be exciting. Looking forward to that. Those are your bad box scores, plural, of the day. It used to be just 1. Now we found it.
We found We're hitting our groove.
A multitude of bad box scores to be able to bring you almost every day on the show. Some people hate them, so we don't do it every day. All right, appreciate Jamar Smith joining the show. If you missed the podcast, it was great. Talking about what he's been doing since he came back to play for Birmingham. Led the Stallions back yesterday with the largest halftime deficit in UFL history. Stallions get to 5-2. Tomorrow, we'll hear from Paul Feinbaum. Also hear from Brian Driscoll. Catch us up on Notre Dame spring practice, what's been happening with the Irish, why Steve Angeli didn't get the win and then transferred out, or didn't get the number one quarterback spot and then transferred out. All that and more with a lot of extra college football talk coming up Tuesday, 7 to 10 a.m. right here on Jocks 94.5. As you know, 3-Man Front comes to you next. Go get the podcast at jocksfm.com, and we'll be back tomorrow.